What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Um, I know it's a little belated, but again, first and foremost, thank you to our wonderful military men and women. Again, happy Memorial's Day. Thank you. I know it's a little late to the party, but still, always take the time to thank our military men and women who put their lives every single day for us. So, thank you first and foremost. And also, thank y'all to the Sports PSP podcast, the audience, almost at 140,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, let's just keep that up. Let's just keep it going. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic day, coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. I am your host, Sports PSP. BRF, bringing in real flair, Mr. Atlanta. Unfortunately, is not here tonight. He has to take care of some family duties. But love you, BRF. Always a pleasure. Always welcome back to the podcast. The podcast is not a house, it's always a home. And of course, we cannot do the Sports PSP podcast without my main man, all the way down from Columbus, Georgia. He is the five-time college degree champion. He is the military man and veteran. He is the Al Roker of journalism. He is the young Charles Barkley. He is the young Mark Henry. He is the Ahmad Rashad when it comes to the WNBA. Sooner or later, he's going to be happy because he's definitely going to be going to some more Atlanta Dream games and hopefully some Atlanta Falcons because pigskin is almost around that corner. Sooner or later, that pigskin is going to be around that corner. Hopefully, I would love to see the big fella one time at a Georgia Bulldogs game at some point. I hope he does do that at some point this season or some other time. But he's always like a brother to me. He is Ace's best sibling. He is Mama Champ's number one favorite son. There's a reason why his pops called him Champ for a reason. He is D's hysterical, hilarious friend. The one and only, the big fella, undisputed world champ. How you doing, man?
Glad to be here on the Sports PSP podcast, man. Look, highlights from Friday nights, we call it that for a reason, man. I just be so happy to be here, man. Sports PSP, man. Like I say, I give you your flowers all the time because if it wasn't for PSP, there would not be an Undisputed GOAT podcast. And let's just keep it real. You brought a lot of visibility for myself and my platform, and I really appreciate everything that you do, man. So, hey, I will never forget, bro. Never forget who helped you, people. If you could take anything, never forget who helped you. Never forget who showed you a lane that you really wasn't familiar with. Never forget that, man. And always show appreciation. At the end of the day, show appreciation to people. But I'm glad to be here, man. Wish my guy BRF was here, man. It's always a party where he shows up, man. We miss you, BRF. Can't wait till you get back. But I can't wait to dive into these deep discussions on there. If you look back on the Wall of Fame, got some new additions on there, and I'm just happy to be here, man. This is going to be one hell of an epic show, and we're excited to come and not just entertain y'all. In the great words of Dr. Lee, we have to educate and entertain. The edutainment speech, if you will.
There's nothing wrong with educating the audience. There's nothing wrong, but at the same time, we don't mind entertaining, but we also want to have a good time. We also want to make you laugh. We also want to make you dance. We also want to make you have great moments. Just great moments. Nothing more to say, man. I mean, I'm just happy. I'm just happy with everything that's going on. Family's doing good. Just hanged out with the family. Just hanged out with mom at the bar, having some good pizza, some good quesadillas. By the way, champ, even though an interesting thing, champ, I know you're on your weight loss regime. You should try some chicken salad. Add it
Yeah.
with some Parmesan cheese,
Hmm.
garlic, tomatoes. I don't know if you like almonds or whatnot, but spread it around. Add a little versatility with the salad. Add a little light dressing with it. It's gonna be good, and some croutons on the side.
Yeah, I've been focused on my weight loss journey. Did my first marathon on Memorial Day, by the way.
Hmm.
Did my first marathon. So did a 5K marathon. We was able to get some things popping on that one. Shout out to the people who made that possible as well. I'm not gonna say no names on the internet because but shout out to the people who made that happen because that was a milestone for myself, and that's something that I've always wanted to do was at least get to at least one marathon, at least this year. So yeah, man, that was epic, man. I didn't think I was gonna make it at first, but we did a 5K marathon, and hey, man, we was able to do some things, man. That was a sweet move right there, very sweet move. So shout out to everybody who made that happen, man.
Yes, but he also spent some time down in Atlanta last week after the Atlanta Dream game, and this was his reaction to Magic City.
Oh man, fortunately did get a chance to do any magic in Magic City, but looking forward to going up there again and making some things happen, man. Going to Atlanta is always an event, and it's like you gotta love it when you go there, man. There's so much to do there, so much there, and
But
it's just
Columbus ain't
like
shabby though.
no, Columbus ain't shabby, but everybody from Columbus goes to Atlanta, so Columbus ain't shabby, but everybody that goes to Columbus goes to Atlanta. Atlanta's the mecca for us here in Georgia, so that is Savannah. So it's it's always an event going to Atlanta, man. A lot of black excellence in Atlanta, man, and be able to see guys who look like you in high places. That's a
You
that's
know a lot. You know a lot of us in Jersey, New York, they're moving to the Atlanta area,
yeah,
South
everybody.
area.
That's like when they keep telling everybody to stop moving to Atlanta. We fool. So, but shout out to Atlanta, man. Shout out to all the beautiful black women in Atlanta and all the beautiful Latino women in Atlanta. And y'all doing y'all thing, man. You go up there, man, and you got to step your game up. You got to come correct because they will clown you up there. So, hey, man, it's a good thing to go up there.
Well, there's nothing to clown about because speaking of New York, for the first time since 1999, the New York Knicks have advanced to the NBA Finals. They didn't beat down the Cleveland Cavaliers, they swept them. Game 4 was equivalent to, unfortunately, champ, to the Atlanta Hawks, to what they did game 6, to what they did to the Philadelphia 76ers game 4. Jalen Brunson ended up winning Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the Larry O'Brien, the Larry Bird MVP. What more could you say with the New York Knicks? But I tried to tell you, champ, about them New York Knicks fans. I mean, I told you about NYPD. I wasn't joking. I wasn't exaggerating. I mean, I tried to tell you. I mean, you deferred to me because, again, I know I'm from New Jersey, but it's not too far away from New York. New York people are wild. And that is an
Yeah.
understatement when I say that.
Yeah, I didn't realize the magnitude because, like I said, man, I'm from down south. I saw when they damn near burnt down Kentucky after the Kentucky Wildcats won the damn national championship. Like, could be that bad, but when I saw the whole damn NYP, I was like, what the hell? I was like, oh yeah, they wild for real. So I didn't. You told me about it, but I was like, damn, oh
If
they
you
wild
think
for
I'm
real.
lying or exaggerating, talk to Kia. And shout out to the beautiful Kia.
Yes,
Love Kia. Talk to Jones, the
yeah,
JV podcast. Talk to a lot of them. They will tell you New York is pretty wild though. They passionate, but they crazy. Hell, they starting to get on my damn nerves and all that stuff, man. But you got to tip your hats off to the New York Knicks for everything what they've accomplished. You got to give credit to Leon Rose for what he has done with this team. You also have to give credit to James Dolan. Look, James Dolan, and it's hard to believe that the New York Knicks would get this far under his stewardship because historically, as an owner, we all know how awful he was, champ. Not just on the court, but also off the court. Remember the Nuka Brown Sanders situation? Him kicking fans out of Madison Square Garden after fans had the temerity to tell him to his face, sell the team. Of course, the Charles Oakley incident, a lot of other things. But despite all of that, the New York Knicks, first time since 1999 to reach to the NBA Finals.
yeah.
Um, Cleveland, you had a chance in Game One in which you had a 22-point lead. James Harden came off as delusional in that press conference when he actually thought that Cleveland was still the better team than New York.
You know,
despite being
analytically, they
swept.
won 4 games.
Despite being swept.
Despite being swept, they analytically won 4 games. But
Him and Kenny Atkinson. I do not. I mean, look. Tip your hats off to New York. Just give credit where credit is due. Um, Mitchell Robinson. Unfortunately, he did suffer a broken picky finger injury, but he did have surgery, and he is expected to play. Although he has a brace though, so that is kind of a concern with Mitchell Robinson. And by the way, this is in his dominant hand. For those who may not know, Mitchell Robinson shoots is right-handed. So that is going to be a concern though for the Knicks. But when you look at the New York Knicks, they lived up to the expectations. They knew they had to get to the finals. Since being down 2-1 against the Atlanta Hawks champ, they've turned it around. They have won 11 consecutive games. Now, you can look at it and say, well, it's the Philadelphia 76ers and the Cleveland Cavaliers, but at the end of the day, they got the job done.
yes,
And they were able to get this far. Now, the finals, that's going to be a different story whether who they're going to face between either Oklahoma City or San Antonio, because we got to wait for the winners of that match in game 7 tomorrow night on NBC. But you just got to tip your hats off to the New York Knicks. Mike Brown making the adjustments, proving that it was time for them to move on from Thibodeau. Mikal Bridges, because later on in the season he was struggling. He's picked himself back up. Jalen Brunson. Sorry, champ. Even though you may say Walt Frazier, all the other old school cats, if he wins a championship, champ, don't be surprised if any New Yorkers or Knicks fans saying that he's the greatest Knick ever. It's not going to be a surprise if anyone says it, especially under the stewardship of James Dolan, the advent of social media, and everything else is going on. For the Knicks, they are ecstatic. They are ecstatic. But big fella, what's your thoughts?
my thoughts. Number one, New York. Congratulations. Kind of knew after y'all kind of dominated us the last couple of games, the Atlanta Hawks the last couple of games, that y'all was gonna go at least to the conference finals, and they won it. One thing I loved about New York, man, is they wanted it. They didn't go back there. They didn't cry about it. They didn't say, "What are we gonna do without Thibodeau?" They did. They went out there and they said, "Look, we got a new coach. We're gonna pick up what we left off. And we're gonna go to the final." Essentially, they walked into the playoffs pissed because they didn't make it last year. And I'm proud of New York, man. Like I said, I thought that you were exaggerating about the celebration in New York, about it being Armageddon. But yeah, you were right on the money. I even made a video about it, and you told me like, bro, you might want to pay attention to what the fuck going on. You from Georgia, y'all a little bit more laid back down there. But
Why do
yeah,
you
when I
think I
saw
want to
the
move to the
whole,
South? There's nothing better than Southern hospitality. I don't want to
yeah,
live in
when
New
you,
York, New Jersey for the rest of my life. Too much damn stress. I mean, it's easier for me to travel because, again, a lot of good things to do in New York City. But them people,
yeah, you told me. I was like, damn, y'all wild for real. But get big ups to New York, man. Big ups to Jalen Bronson. I saw a little commercial with DiVincenzo, and the other guys.
the Villanova Wildcats, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. It's unfortunate for DiVincenzo, but I have no inkling that he will. He'll make it somewhere with somebody one day. But it's good for New York, man. And I would not be surprised if Jalen Brunson does get labeled the best Nick ever. I'm old school in my own little way. I'm not to the point where I hate on the younger crowd because that's just not my way. Because hey, these young kids, these young guys, hell of a lot faster than we was, a lot
Unlike
more.
Trent, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, Trent he hates old people, but Trent my dog though, man. I mean, the thing is, I give Trent a lot of flack, but he was like that though. He was like that. So when you was like that, then you get to talk a little stuff about the old heads. But um, got a big ups to Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks squad. They came out there with a vengeance, and they are here now. And the only thing they waiting on is whoever's to come. Now I'm gonna just be real. Matchups makes for great stories, and I'm gonna just be real. If they face San Antonio, I'm anxious to see what Cat, how Cat is going to combat Wimby at this point because it seems like can nobody stop Wimby on this team. They can contain him for moments at a time, but never too much. In fact, they holded him. They tried to hurt him at one point. So it's just OKC cannot contain him. So it's going to be interesting for us to see if, and that's a big if, San Antonio makes it and faces New York, how Cat is going to step up and defend against Wimby and how he's going to perform against Wimby. The
Well, I
Chet
don't
Holmgren
think
seems
you have
like
to
he's
worry
going
about
to do
Cat
it.
in that situation, Chad. That's why you got OG and Mikal Bridges. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, you're seeing what OKC has been doing to Wemby throughout the series, which is keeping him away from the paint, not just from the offense, but also on the defensive standpoint. Because if you keep Wemby away from the paint, that's something. Truthfully, champ, if the Knicks played the Spurs, I would have the Knicks winning the series.
Really?
Yes, because I think they're the more experienced team. You look at San Antonio, youth, inexperience, a lot of young guys on that roster. I think with the Knicks, they're the underdogs. No
Yeah.
one is anticipating them to win the finals. They're anticipating them to get to the finals. They were anticipated to get to the finals because with Boston, we didn't know if Jason Tatum was going to return, and to his credit, he did, but they did blow a 3-1 lead against the Philadelphia 76ers. New York against Philadelphia, I mean, come on. New York, for the most part, blew Philadelphia out the door.
Yeah,
Then
ran the
against
shoestrings
Cleveland,
off.
blew them out the door. And even if they lose the finals champ, they're still going to be the team to come out the East. Because with Boston, are you sure with Brown and Tatum? Because lately, since they've won that championship, they've been slipping a little bit. In Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton, how is he going to be coming off the Achilles injury? The only team that could challenge them was Detroit. And they lost in game 7 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, but I do think that the Knicks can actually challenge them. Now, if they face the Thunder, that's a different ball game. Because I just think that the Thunder, more experienced team, the championship pedigree. And if they deal with somebody on the Thunder, that guy, Alex Caruso, who you know very well, he played for the Lakers, and he's a tremendous guy coming off the bench because he'll give you some points here and there, but what does he give you? Energy, effort, defense.
Yes.
Then on top of that, if they face Oklahoma City, Jalen Williams. I believe if Jalen Williams by game 2 or game 3 of the NBA Finals, he will play. That's only if the Thunder advance to the finals. But I think the Knicks could actually challenge San Antonio because of the experience, the youth. Stephon Castle, within the past 2 games, he committed 20 turnovers. And it's important De'Aaron Fox brought him back, is back. Because since De'Aaron Fox has come back, he's cut down the turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I think to me, I'm not really that surprised, champ, if New York actually wins the finals. Would I like to see them win the finals? No, because I'm a Bulls fan, even though I live in Jersey, and plus Knicks fans, they're becoming more obnoxious. It's getting to the point, champ, they're becoming more and more obnoxious as Cowboy and Eagles fans. It's getting me to a point where I'm saying to myself, hell, I'd rather just see the Cowboys just win the Super Bowl.
I mean,
That's how
like I
bad it
keep
is.
saying, they haven't had. The thing is, I know you're gonna say there's no excuse, but they haven't had anything in a while.
I know they
They
haven't
haven't
had
had
anything in
nothing.
a
I
damn
mean,
while, but damn, can you? The job is still not done. The job,
sometimes it's the excitement. I mean, when you haven't had it, like I stated, it's kind of like eating a steak for dinner, and you haven't had it in 3 months. You only be eating bologna sandwiches and peanut butter sandwiches. You be eating pork and beans, hot dogs.
I understand.
When you eat that steak, you're
Yeah,
gonna
when you eat
celebrate
that
just a little
steak,
bit.
that's satisfied. But I also want to eat that steak again. And besides, I'm not interested in pork and beans and Vienna sausages and spam anymore. Hell, I want some filet mignon. It's kind of like with women. I'm tired of dealing with the average woman. People nowadays they want to deal with the real woman, like a lotto or something like that.
Yeah,
or hell, for Cheyenne Bryant for all of that matters. I
yeah.
mean,
Dr. Cheyenne
I don't know if doctors would approve of you saying that,
Bryant. I'll be in the butt, but yeah,
but she is fine though.
yeah,
But and
five.
for the record, anyone who wants to criticize or judge her, newsflash. I've seen other content creators that use their platforms for far worse things, and which we're gonna get into that later on the show. But
Yeah.
my thing is back with New York. Enjoy the moment. And even if they lose in the finals, champ, not saying they're going to, but if they do, they're still going to be the team in the East. Can you look at right now outside of Detroit any team in their way?
Uh, Boston is going to find a way to come back. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe Boston. I hate to say that as a Laker fan because I hope they never win a game in my life. If they went 0 and 80, if they were the first team to go 0 and 82, that would just make me so proud. But I believe Boston is going to find a way to do that. I know there's been a lot of tension within the whole situation. Jalen Brown, everybody's saying, okay, they got two Scottie Pippens on their team, but at the end of the day, they won a final. Shout out to Leaf, by the way, but they won the finals. So I mean, they won the finals. So if I can win the finals with two Scottie Pippens, I mean, I'll take that every time. But I believe they're going to reload and refuel. Boston has a way of retaining players and getting other players, and you have to give credit where credit is due on that. So I cannot sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, Boston is not going to be a factor. I believe that, and plus we got to think about this. Free agency is this year. They got a hell of a there's a hell of a free agency class out there that's coming. It's loaded. So there's going to be a lot of free agents, excuse me, bouncing from here to there, trying to get paid, trying to win championships, trying to do etc. So I believe that Boston has a chance in order to do a lot of great things. So I can't pretend that Boston is not that team in order to do. And depending on what Philadelphia can do, I really think that they are one big swing trade away from doing something, at least making themselves to the second round. And we don't know what the Giannis sweepstake is going to lead to. We don't know what the Giannis sweepstakes is going to lead to.
Well, there are
So,
reports about possibly him joining the Boston, but I think champ in Philadelphia, we've discussed this with Embiid in the process. The process, I think it's been done
yeah, it was.
because the concern with Joel Embiid again has never been his talent, it's whether his conditioning, which is why he needs to head into the offseason being in the best shape that he can possibly be.
Yeah.
And I don't know about with Philadelphia at this point. I do think Detroit. Jalen Duran, first time in the playoffs. He did regress in the playoffs. He's eligible to sign that max contract. I think it's like what 5 years, $287 million.
Yeah, he made all NBA. He was able to damn. Oh, that's a hell of an upgrade when you go there. So
So only time will tell. But for the Knicks right now, look, celebrate the moment, but remember, the job is still not done.
yeah,
We got the NBA Finals. And again, and the reason why I say the job is not done, in the words of the late great Kobe Bryant, job's not done. When they were winning games against the Orlando Magic, he was like, "Job's not done."
no, it's not. It's not
So
done to that
you have
stop.
a chance to do
You know,
something really special, even more special than getting to the finals, winning the finals since 1973.
yeah. How special you live in the New York, New Jersey area? How special is it going to be for the marketing for the NBA because this is the biggest market. And I know I talk a lot of trash, and I'm a Laker fan, and I say that LA is the
No, New
biggest
York,
market, but
especially, and
it's New York.
it's champ. It would intensify it because think about it. They play in the biggest place out there, Madison Square Garden, New York City. For that franchise that hasn't won anything since 1973, and they've had historic players: Earl the Pearl Monroe, Clyde Frazier. You know, you've had John Starks, Latrell Sprewell,
Larry
Larry
Johnson.
Johnson, Allen Houston. He also had Len Wilkins. He also had Carmelo Anthony. You've had Bernard King. A lot of great New York Knicks that have played from that franchise. To win a championship at this time, mind you, again, with the owner in James Dolan, that is saying substantially something because a lot of people, champ, have wanted Dolan out as ownership of the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
There was even discussions out. There was even discussions who's a worse owner between him or Sterling, Donald Sterling.
No, he wasn't that bad.
Y- But he wasn't. But he wasn't that far either because
No, I can't. I
no,
can. I'm sorry, but I cannot put him in that same. No, I cannot
in
put
terms of
him in the same
in
conversation with
terms
that.
of production, champ. But outside James Dolan, no, I'm not gonna go as far as saying outside production on the court.
Okay, production on the court, yeah, but I no, I can't put him in that same conversation. And the thing is, I'm gonna just be real. A lot of these owners, like Jerry, like James Dolan, they want to do it their way, and their way don't always attribute to wins until they
Which is
step
why
all
I
the way
say,
back.
which is why I say that Dolan deserves a lot more credit because more importantly, he stayed out the way.
Yes, he stepped all the way back, and you got to commend him for that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna step out of the way, and let people get in a position in order to get their jobs done. And look, I don't think this is being paid attention to a lot. Y'all notice who is there every single game?
Spike Lee.
Not just them, all the Knicks of the past. Bernard King, Patrick Ewing. And I gotta big up James Dolan for this. Giving away 500 tickets to the kids to come to the finals.
Yeah, but at the same time,
You
champ,
know,
he's done a lot of good things for a lot of other players. But at the same time, people still remember you for kicking Charles Oakley out of the arena. It would be a lot more meaningful if you would bring back Charles Oakley back to Madison Square Garden, but that will never happen. And I'm sorry, Chad, we've had this conversation before. Look, James Dolan, yeah, he's done a lot of good things, but I can't disregard what happened with Anuka Brown Sanders. I
no.
can't disregard what happened, how he kicked fans from Madison Square Garden, all because the fans have told him to sell the team. And I can't ignore what he did to Charles Oakley, especially when him releasing a statement saying that Oakley was both physically and verbally abusive and implying that Oakley had an issue with alcohol or mental health issues. And I don't want to hear that from James Dolan because Dolan, you went to a rehab clinic back in 1993. So if anyone should be mindful and understanding about that, it should be you.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said in the conversation that we had, it's too many odd shits, more odd shits than data boys. So I can attest, I can agree with you on that. But if for him to step all the way back and understand, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I need to
That's
get
the
some
only
people in
thing I
here,
give him credit for.
and
Just
yeah,
let the people that you hire do the job. That's my thing if you're Dolan. Look, if you interfere, guess what's going to happen? A lot of New Yorkers going to get mad at your ass. They already mad at you. They tired of dealing with you.
yeah. I mean, look, I'm glad New York is back, man. I'm glad New York is back. Yeah, like I said, I'm from Georgia, but it's good for the NBA. It's good. New York is the mecca of basketball. Like I said, I talk a lot of stuff. I say LA, and I'm always going to big up my home state of Georgia, but New York is the mecca of basketball. It doesn't get any more steeper competition as far as basketball is concerned. We play football down south. Y'all play basketball for real up north. Y'all play basketball for real up north.
That's how New Yorkers are with basketball. Even though they love their football with the New York Giants and the Yankees, but basketball is New York. Football is king of the South.
Yes.
If you go to Alabama, you go to Georgia, you go to Tennessee, you go to Texas, anywhere down south, the number one sport down there in the South, football. But when you go to that Northeast,
Is that
especially in a
ball
place
good?
like New York, with that historic franchise. No, it's the Knicks. I just think, champ, for me, if the Knicks just should embrace it, accept the moment, but then they just got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Um, I think if they face a team like San Antonio, they would have a good chance of winning because again, they got perimeter guys like Mikal Bridges and OG that can also defend Wemby. But I am kind of concerned though because of Mitchell Robinson. And with that pinky finger injury, how is that going to affect his ability to rebound, play some defense, and they may implement the Hacker Robinson strategy because he is their worst free throw shooter.
Or he can go talk to
And
Running Lot.
yes, now and then when you look at San Antonio, they do have guys who can defend, like from Dylan Harper, who's like the son of Ron Harper. So he's going to defend as well, and he's going to find a way to try to see what he can do with Jalen Brunson and them. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks win it all. Not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I want them to win. I'm not
I
gonna lie.
don't. I
I
don't.
want them to win
I
because, like I
don't.
said, they haven't had anything in a while. I want New York to win. And look, it's good for the NBA, for the biggest market in the United States of America in order to win. The ratings are going to be off the charts. In the New York market alone, everybody is going to be glued to the. I mean, look, you got to think about this. New York set the record for most viewed finals in history. Remember when the damn New York Liberty they won the finals a couple of years ago? They set a brand new record
But I
for
also
WNBA
told,
ratings. So I
but I
can't wait to
also,
see what they're going to do in the
but I
NBA.
also told you, champ, in New York, they don't really care that much about the New York Liberty. To them, I'm telling you, champ, when you walk around the streets of New York City, they care about is their Knicks.
Yeah. But Mark, what I'm saying is like this.
Yes,
If they set that precedent for the Liberty as far as being in the WNBA finals, I can't wait to see what that New York market is going to do for the NBA finals and all the I think it's going to be some record setting ratings this year in the NBA. I really do. With that New
yes,
York
and
market
and
being in there, it's going to be some
yes,
record setting ratings.
but at the same time, I also want to see them lose too. No, I want to see them. No, I want to see them lose. No, I'm sorry. I want to see them lose because they get on my damn nerves. I want to see. It's kind of like South Park, the episode of South Park when Cartman's licking the tears from Scott Terraman's face. That's exactly how I want to see. That's how I am with the New York Knicks fans at this point because they're getting on my goddamn nerves. You're lu- you're lucky because again, you from the South. You don't have to deal with New Yorkers like I do on a constant basis.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm from Georgia. It's always been, when I was in the army, there was little rivalries there between us and New York guys. Plus, you got to keep in mind our state colors is red. New York's is blue. That never adds up. That don't go together across any walk of life, red and blue. So I'm gonna just be real. But I want to see them win, man. Like I stated, I have not seen New York buzz like this. I only seen New York buzz like this twice in my lifetime. That was the '94 when they faced Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets, and it was in '99 when they faced the Spurs. And I want to see them win to get rid of. I want to see them win because they can get rid of that curse. I've seen so many teams lose their curse in the lifetime of sports. I saw the Cleveland Cavaliers lose their curse. I saw the Boston Red Sox get rid of the curse of the Bambino.
The
I
Chicago
saw
Cubs.
I saw the Cubs get rid of their curse. I saw the White Sox get rid of their curse. And I'm ready to see the largest market, the best market in the United States. Like I said, I talk a lot of shit about LA and I'm Georgia to the core. Look what's on my wall behind me. Braves, Hawks, Lakers. That's what you see. But I want to see the largest market in the world do something. That way those NBA ratings can crank up and the market is going to go through the roof in New York. And the tourism, shit. You ain't going to be able to buy a ticket in New York next year. They win the damn finals. That's what I want to see. I want to see New York get rid of that curse. You haven't won in 40 something. Hey, I saw the Georgia
50.
Bulldogs. Lose their curse. We hadn't won in almost 40 years. 1981, we finally went back to back. I want to see another team lose their curse.
Not this team. I don't. I want them to suffer. I want them to. No, I want. No, I'm sorry, but outside of Kia, I want to see Knicks fans suffer.
Oh, he is a Knicks fan?
Yes, I've been trying to tell you that.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I did not know you was a Knicks fan. I knew Jones. I knew the. I call him. I know Jones was. I know Jones was to go to
And
New York.
Jones, good people. Ironically, I don't understand he a Cowboy and a Knicks fan, but that's a story for another
Wait,
day.
what?
He's both a Cowboys and a Knicks fan.
That's weird.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. I knew he was a Knicks and a Mets fan because he always says it's raining orange, and I was messing with him when my Braves beat the Knicks, but I didn't know he was a that's kind of that's sacrilege up there in New York. You'd be a Cowboys fan. It's sacrilege. That's kind of like somebody from Georgia being a Saints fan. That's weird. So, that's sacrilege.
Shout out to Dwayne. Oklahoma City Thunder is doing too much flopping.
Like a
Y-
fish.
Yeah, but at the same time, how do you explain the refs?
These referees, I don't know. I mean,
I'm sorry, Shan, but it's pretty obvious. Like when SGA, when he's doing that fadeaway, that mid range shot, you can just tell it's not a foul, but they still call it regardless. And that's something that you may have to factor for game 7.
stop. I don't know what to say, bro. It's like it's weird at this point. You that's a foul. That's nowhere near a foul. I mean, the dude is flopping on purpose. And remember what Kyler Cowherd said. He said he's like Andy. It's like Woody saying Andy. The minute he say Andy, he flops. It's like, bro, I understand flopping. Flopping has always been a part of the game. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're lying. Cause I saw it. But on that level where you just again enough. And they say his field goal percentages is down in the playoffs. Hell, I wonder why you ain't getting all the calls. So yeah, I mean, it's ugly basketball. It's like it's real weird. But and I don't think anybody wants to see OKC. So I think everybody's rooting for the Spurs. You
Well, I
know.
think people just want to see that because again, the rematch of the '99 finals between the Knicks and the Spurs.
Yeah.
That's another reason. And also too, just like I said, Jalen Williams, unfortunately, he will not play in game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. He's been ruled out. But it's at Oklahoma City, champ. Oklahoma City knows what it's up against. I'm gonna still ride with the ship. I'm still gonna go with OKC in 7. You have San Antonio in 7, and that's painful for you to admit as a Lakers fan. I think for me, it's simple with Oklahoma City. It comes down to their bench, from Wallace, from Alex Caruso, and keep an eye on Jared McCain because since he was traded from Philadelphia to Oklahoma City, he has been tremendous for them coming off the bench.
Yes, indeed.
Um, so far in this series, Victor has had Chet's number,
Yeah. He running
and
scared. He running scared. You see, like Chet is running away from contact.
he is. But I have Oklahoma City winning in game 7 because I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds give him some favoritism with the calls. And also to Oklahoma City's bench. So that you have to like take into consideration. And they just gonna have to do what they did in games 2 and game 5. Keep Wemby away possible from the paint.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
You can't stop him. You got to contain him.
Well, it's hard to stop a guy who's 7'4" and who can play both like a big and a guard with that type of skill and ability. I mean, it's just rare. He's like a combination all at once. And like I said, in that game, in game 1, when he had like that 40-20 rebound game, it was like watching Olajuwon, Duncan, Shaq, and a dazzle of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
because he has that capability of hitting threes.
He's dangerous behind the arc. He's dangerous.
He's dangerous. I think who's the guy from San Antonio who win six man a year? I think his name is Calvin Johnson.
Yeah,
He just
Calvin
has to
Johnson.
come off the bench, play well for them. Um, Oklahoma City just cut down on the turnovers. Since the De'Aaron Fox has come in, Stephon Castle has cut back on the turnovers, so that is good. I think that Popovich is going to do something as far as making adjustments, having a conversation with the team, and it's great to see Popovich come back because we all know
Yes.
that Popovich had that stroke situation. So God bless him. We all know Tim Duncan is going to support the team as much as he can, but I still got Oklahoma City winning this one. It's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go Oklahoma City 109, 104.
I hate to say this.
I know you're going to say go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go. That will be the first and the very last time you will ever hear me say that. So go you guys.
Nah, I don't believe you're going to be. That's
So
the last time you're going to say
that is
that.
the last time because guess what, man?
If they face the Knicks in the finals, are you going to pick them?
No, I'm going for New York.
You just want to see the great narrative.
Yeah, look. When you don't look, like I said, when you don't have something for a long, I want to see a curse break. My teams broke curses. My Georgia Bulldogs broke curses. We came from a
I
curse.
know you
So
broke curses, but what about your Falcons, champ?
yeah, we still cursed. I mean, my Atlanta Braves this decade, they broke the curse. We didn't think we was gonna win another one. We were still hanging on to that World Series we won back in 1995. I
Which is
want to see
why I
the
told.
Knicks fans of this generation of Knicks fans are twice removed from that 1973 finals. They're twice removed from that. At least when I was coming up, I could hold on to a memory of seeing my Braves win a World Series. I can say in 1995, I was, let's say, I was 8 years old and I saw my team won. And I can say, even if I had kids, which I don't, if I had kids, okay, I saw my team win one. My father could say he saw his team win one. A lot of guys, their grandfather, hell, their great grandfathers was the one that saw the New York Knicks win. They don't have any memory of that. The
They
last
don't
30
because
years, a lot of these guys don't have that memory of that. They only know losing to Michael Jordan in the 90s, losing to Tim Duncan at their last finals. They only know losing when it matters the most. So to see this generation who is twice removed from that New York Knicks title experience winning, yes, I want to see. Hey, people was happy for Georgia when we won our first one. We were
I
twice
think,
removed from that 1981 final, from the
but it's
1981
but it's
national.
different though, champ. Because even though that's a diehard fan base, but at the same time, them motherfuckers. I told you about New York. Did I not? Did I lie?
You
Did I
didn't
lie?
lie about New York, but I just want to see the,
No, I
like I
don't. No,
said,
I want them to
this
suffer.
generation.
I want them to suffer. I want them to eat some humble pie. I want them to shut the fuck up because they keep talking this shit. I want them to suffer. It's even gotten to a point that Mama PSP is trying to get me to root for the Knicks. I'm like, no, you do
That's
what you
not the
do.
Mama PSP.
No, 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 no.
Buy him a Larry
Mama
Johnson jersey.
PSP, Mama PSP is only supporting the New York Knicks simply because she's a New Yorker. She does not
I
follow or
mean,
cover basketball like that. She just wants to see New York win. And I'm like, Mama, look,
but
stop.
that's the attraction of it,
And,
though.
and, and I'm like,
That's the
Mama,
attraction of it.
I
I
don't
mean,
care
all
about
the
the
New
goddamn
Yorkers,
attraction. I'm like, no. You have your
all the New
stance.
Yorkers
I have my
everywhere.
stance. Don't get me to support the New York Knicks, man. Come on. You
Yeah,
you are
all the New
not trying to
Yorkers
get you are
everywhere
not
are
trying to
going to be
get me to
cheering.
support the Knicks, man. Come on.
Yeah, all the New Yorkers everywhere are going to be cheering. Even people who don't watch basketball are going to want to
I
tune
know
in.
that,
So,
Chip, but at the
yeah,
same
I
time, I'm
love it.
like, damn, can y'all chill? You still got
New
some work to
Yorkers are
do.
got New Yorkers got that swag to them anyway, man. And when they win it, they got that extra swag. When you winning, you got that extra swag to you, man. And to their credit, they carry a degree of swag and arrogance to them.
Uh,
So
and delusion.
I mean, you got to be delusional if you look.
God
You are
damn,
in the heart, bro. You are in the heart. Look, you are in the hardest fucking city in the world.
Which is
If you can
why
make
I
it,
want to leave this hardened city. You think I
you in
want
the
to live in
hardest
New
city in the
York, New
damn
Jersey
world
for
to
the rest of
survive
my
in.
life? No, I
That's how come they
don't.
say if you can make it in New York, you can make it
I
anywhere.
don't want to
So
live in
yeah.
New York anymore. I can't take it anymore of this city. Damn. I want to live in Atlanta. I want to live somewhere peaceful. Hell, I want to live in Miami. That's just me.
Yeah, but you want to see New York break that
I
curse, man.
don't. I
Break the
don't.
curse.
I
Break the
don't.
curse, New
No,
York.
no, I don't want to see them break the curse. Keep on losing so that you can stop giving your money to Dolan. And the greatest victory for me is for Charles Oakley to be standing around and saying, "Hey, y'all didn't support me all this time, but y'all, but look, I will start giving Dolan a look. I've given Dolan credit for staying out the way. You want to make it easier for me, Dolan? How about bringing back Oakley back to the Garden? That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't believe. I think it'll be a good thing to bring him back and during the finals and give him a ceremony and say we welcome you back. But I don't think that's going to happen, man. But New
It's
York.
not gonna happen because Dolan doesn't is not gonna do it, and Oakley. We've
And
heard the
Oakley,
comments he said about Dolan. That's not
yeah,
gonna happen.
Oakley is not going to be very, very forgiving. I mean, hell, he literally slapped Charles Barkley for something he said. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just being real. Like I said, man, like I said, I like to see curses broken. I love it. I mean, and when you're in the biggest market in the world, regardless of how arrogant you are, regardless of how much swag you got, I want to see you win. And I want to see New York win. Like I stated, I'm from Georgia, but I want to see a market like New York win. It's good to see when the biggest markets win. And you're going to have people who are who no longer live in New York, like my cousin Jackie. She's from up there in New York. I'm not for sure what she's my cousin by marriage, so I'm not sure where which part of New York she came from. No, she's from the Bronx. But you know people who came from New York. When the Yankees are winning, they bring out their Yankee jerseys. When the Islanders or the Rangers are winning, they bring out those jerseys. I want to be able for them to be able to say and hang their hat on something much like I did. Hell, when Georgia won the national championship, you couldn't tell me anything. I bragged about that shit for damn near a year. And it got worse the very next year because I bragged some more because we went back to back. Then beat TCU
But
60,
I also
63 to
want
7.
to see. But I also want to see the lower market teams win. Even though they've won championships more recently, it just means a lot to me more than the lower market teams winning. Because look at what they're doing. To me, Oklahoma City, have we forgotten how good of an executive that Sam Presti is? And guess what? They're still going to have more first round picks. And they're still going to be a constant contender in the Western Conference. Let's not forget San Antonio with R.C. Buford. Plus, we keep talking about New York as the great narrative champ. I don't think you're not giving enough credit to not only Oklahoma City, but also San Antonio because they found their Tim Duncan and Victor Wembanyama. And if it's a possibility to rematch between the Knicks and the Spurs, and if the Spurs win, can you imagine how this would be great for Victor Wembanyama being the face of the NBA? He was the unanimous defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And had he played in enough more games, he possibly would have had a chance to win the league MVP. And I think he's going to be the favorite to be the league MVP. Although you can argue SGA, you can also argue Luka, you can also argue Jokic. But we keep talking about narratives with the New York Knicks, yes and all. But we can't disregard Sam Presti. He's already won a championship. You think he's not looking for more on his resume? And you
Yeah,
and San Antonio, how they were able to win a championship moving on from the Greg Popovich era with
yeah,
this young roster. Because if you look at this roster in San Antonio, they got like the youngest roster in the NBA, the
yeah.
starting lineup. And I'm sorry, champ. I know I'm being petty. I just can't stand Knicks fans, man. Hell, you're even pushing me to the point you're getting me to wear a Cowboys jersey and for me to root for the Cowboys next year.
Oh,
That's how bad it is for me to deal with Knicks fans because I just want them to shut the hell up. I'm
Like,
sorry. I'm like the Grinch who stole Christmas. I'm like Jim Cornette. Hey, you said it yourself. You rather straight shoot you than bullshit you, because I
yeah,
can't take any more with them damn New York fans, man. They're just so damn annoying. I want them to suffer. I want them to cry. I want them to see pain and anger. I'm like Cartman looking off the tears from Scott Terraman's face. Oh, I just want to see that type of pain and anguish, man. I just want to see that.
oh man. Hey, you might as
Why,
well. Hey man,
why
next
do you
week's
think I
show.
want to move out of New York so bad? New
Hey,
Jersey so bad?
we need to give you a Reggie Miller jersey. Need to give you a Reggie Miller jersey, man. Break the curse, New York, man. Break the curse. I want to see it, man. Break the curse like Georgia did. Break the curse like everybody did, man. And look, man, y'all New York, man. I like I said, I'm from Georgia, but I want to see that. And the narrative is the thing is this. I know we talk about the San Antonio Spurs, but there's never was a question. Even they got once they got Wimby, we all that they were on the road to success. We once they got him, we already knew
But
they were on the road. It was only a
we
matter of
knew
time.
they were on the road to success, champ. But at the same time, to win it without Greg Popovich, that's
Yeah,
also a huge thing, because again, for him to step aside and with the new head coach, and for them to go this far, again with this young roster,
yeah,
doesn't it give you some resemblance of what Oklahoma City was with the young Durant, Westbrook, and Harden?
yeah.
Only
I
this time,
mean, yeah. But the
and I'm
thing is,
sorry,
these guys have. But the thing is, we knew with R.C. Buford and the history of that franchise, we knew, much like the Celtics, that they were going to get somewhere eventually, even without the great Vic, Greg Popovich. Remember, they were succeeding before Greg Popovich became the head coach. We got to
yes, but
remember
they
that.
weren't. But they
They
weren't
were,
winning
but like I said, they
championships like
wasn't
this.
winning. They wasn't winning. They wasn't winning championships, but they were one of the more successful franchises. So I got to get, like I said, we've seen this before with the Spurs. We knew eventually they're not going to stay down for long. Like the Celtics, they're not going to stay down for long. There's teams that they're not going to stay down for long. And the Spurs, the New England Patriots of the NBA, we knew that they were not going to stay down for very, very long. They got the draft picks. They picked the players that they need to play. They got the system back in place. They got the guys behind the scene. They have a family there. That's not just a team. That's an entire family. That's why we call them the New England Patriots of the NBA. That's an entire family there. So we knew that they were going to come back eventually. With Oklahoma City, I've seen you already win. And the thing is, it's not great basketball. It's not great basketball. All of the flopping, all of the useless penalties, you yelling at the refs and doing all that, it's not a
But
good look
but
for
at
basketball.
but at the same time, champ, if it works to their favor, hey, look, champ, I understand how you feel about New York because you want to see people breaking the cycle. But at the same time, man, look, again, you from the South, I'm from New York. I have to deal with New York Knicks fans every single time. You don't have to, at least you don't have to deal with that type of annoying obnoxiousness every single time, every single day. You lucky. You don't have to deal with that. I have to deal with that. Why do you think I want to move out of the New York, New Jersey area?
Hey man, I can't survive a big city like that, man. Especially a city as
I
big
don't
as New
want to live in
York.
the. I don't want to live in New
So
York.
but that's a whole nother thing. But to see somebody a, a magnitude, when you think basketball, I think New York. I think about the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think about Syracuse. I think about Carmelo Anthony. I think about the late great Earl the Goat Minigo. I think about Rucker Park. I think about Dr. J. Gordon to Rucker Park. I think about Fat Joe and Jay Z. They having one of those. They had one of the greatest teams. They had one of the greatest games that were never played. I think about the rappers from New York. How New York rappers made basketball into pop culture. I think about how basketball and pop culture became one. It was because of New York. Like I said, I talk a lot of shit, but I got to give credit where credit's due. And to see all of that
I
in
understand
one
that,
era
champ.
and see them finally win and see that moment where they have it full circle where
I
New York has their
understand that,
time,
champ.
that would
But
be
it's
great.
still, I don't want to see it because I'm tired of hearing it every single day. Come on, champ. I've told you. I'm not.
Yeah, you told, but like I said, I didn't know it was that bad until I saw the entire NYPD. That shit was like the National Guard standing around. But I digress. But like I said, to see them win and see that city have something, I
No,
want to see
I
them
don't
have
want to see.
something.
I
It's
know. I
good.
don't care about them dead fans. I don't want to see them winning nothing. I don't. I want them to suffer. That's a sorry. I'm sorry, Chip. I understand your point. Yes, it would mean a lot to see that franchise, that city win something because obviously it opens the door for opportunities as far as marketing and everything else. But fuck them fans, like Miss Pat says. Fuck them kids. That's just how I am.
Uh, on that note, man, I say this: go New York, go New York, go. I'm hoping y'all win the finals, man. And if y'all win the finals, I will do my best to wear Knicks jersey. I may not do it on the Sports PSP. If I don't do it on the if Sports PSP allow me, I'll wear it on Sports PSP. If you don't allow me to do that, I'll wear it
Now,
on
now,
the
now,
season
now, see, now, see, now, you wear that. I'm buying you a cowboy jersey.
well, I'll wear that for Mama. That's fine.
No,
Oh,
no, that's too easy. I'm getting you a Saints jersey.
oh no, that's not gonna happen. I will.
Then you better not be wearing no Knicks jersey.
I put it. It gets set on fire with kerosene, not gasoline. Kerosene. New York, do your thing, man. I want to see you win.
New York suffer. I want the fans to suffer.
I never heard. I never thought in a million years I see a guy from New Jersey saying New York lose, and a guy from Georgia saying New York win. The world is about to end very soon.
I I get tired of the New York fans, man. I'm sorry. I've been living in that state for over 20 years. I would much rather see a low market team like San Antonio, Oklahoma City, even though they've won it, and they're still going to be fine because of the culture and everything else set up. To me, it just means a lot more. And also, too, champ with Wemby, him being such an international superstar. Can you imagine what is going to open the door? And also, too, his brother, his young brother can play.
Yeah.
And also, it's going to change and plus, for San Antonio to still keep on, this adds on to their legacy. Is it really, how great of a dynasty was it? Is it really the Patriots or the Spurs? Because I made the argument they're the New England Patriots of the Spurs. They're the New England Patriots of the NBA because they're still able to win, have the amount of championship. The only thing that the Spurs haven't done, unlike New England has done, is go back to back. They haven't done that. New England is able to say, "Hey, we've went back to back, 03 and 04." But to be champ, I'm sorry. I just want to see Knicks fans suffer and cry and pain. And I also want to see Charles Oakley getting the last laugh as well. Because wait a minute. I have been a lifelong supporter of this Knicks franchise. Everyone respects and reveres me because how much I bled, sweat, cried, how much the sacrifices I've made working hard, providing the best contributions for the New York Knicks. If Oakley gets the last I just want to see Oakley smiling, seeing the Knicks fans lose, getting the last laugh and celebrating. Sorry, champ. I just can't stand New York, man.
Like I said, I never thought in a million years I would be hearing a dude from Jersey saying I know New York, and a guy from Georgia saying go New York. That is an oxymoron if I ever seen one.
You would never thought that a guy from and again, I'm a Bulls fan. So I want to see the Knicks fans in pain. I want to see them cry. I feel about them the same way you feel about the Saints, or as you call them, the Aints.
Yeah, they,
You want to see the Aints wearing them trash bags on their head. That's just how I am with the Knicks. Look, I understand to your point, champ, because of the New York and the market and everything else. But with that being said, outside of those reasons, fuck them Knicks fans. I can't stand them. I cannot
oh
stand.
man,
I cannot stand them. It is getting me to a point that you probably making me think the unthinkable. Getting the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
they definitely on paper they have a chance. So,
Cowboys or the Knicks?
Knicks.
Yeah, because you still have concerns about the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, I still got concerns about that. And look, the biggest difference between the Knicks making it and the Cowboys making it is their head dumbass stepped out of the way. I don't see that happening anytime soon with Jerry. So when when the head dumbass steps out of the way and realizes he's a dumbass, I mean
There's
the
nothing
sky's
you
the
can
limit
say
from there,
about that.
huh?
There's nothing you can say about that. Jerry's not changing. First of all, he's not just the owner. He's the GM. He's the team president. He's the ambassador of the team. The buck stops with him, as he always says.
Yeah,
So,
hanging out with Bill Clinton. So yeah, so
well, again, they're from the state of Arkansas. They went to I think they're from the University of Arkansas.
yeah.
So yeah,
Shout
that's
out
no
to Nolan
surprise.
Richardson as well.
Yeah. But look, man, look, I'm happy for the record. I'm not knocking the Knicks players. I just can't stand the Knicks fans. I just want to see them cry and suffer. I feel Broad and I, even though he's an Eagles fan and I'm a Commanders fan, I think Broad would be very happy to see the Knicks fans in pain after what they did to the 76ers.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey,
But to your point, champ, you make great points. Yes, obviously it means a lot more in New York City, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, the franchise, how moribund the franchise has been under Dolan's stewardship,
yes.
everything else, and how it would translate to basketball. But I just can't stand the New York Knicks fans, man. I can't. I can't. Anytime when I take Penn Station, I always have to wear my earbuds or headphones, my Beats by Dre, just to listen to music because I can't stand hearing the shit from New Yorkers. But if there's one person from New York I will be interested in seeing, the one and only, the beautiful D.
She's a New York Knicks fan.
She I think she's supporting the Knicks only because of New York, and she lives in the New York area.
Yeah,
So
she lives in the New York area. So shout out to D, man. Shout out to New York, man. I just want y'all, that man, enjoy this, man. Enjoy it. Y'all earned it, and get behind y'all team, man. Let them ratings go up and up and up. And hey, man, let's do this thing, man. Do this. Go out there and put on the show, man. Put on the show.
I just want to see the Knicks fans lose and suffer as hell.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to see them lose. But shout out to JV and John and Kia. But speaking of New York champ, on a serious note, Jackson Dart, the quarterback of the New York Giants last week, he introduced President Trump at a rally to which Abdul Carter, the defensive end from the New York Giants, called him out on social media. Now, in fairness to Abdul Carter, he did say that he and Jackson Dart, they're cool. Later this week, Jackson Dart did address the team
Yeah.
about his support for President Trump, to which the leaders of the conversation were Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Jameis Winston. Arvo Abdul Carter was not there because, for those who may not know, Abdul Carter is Muslim. He didn't attend the thing due to a religious reason, but he did speak about the situation. He said that he and Jackson Dart, they're on good terms. They want to put this behind them. And look, he didn't even ask Jackson Dart to apologize. He basically said, "Nah, stand by what you stand on. You stand on what you standing on. I'm standing by what I'm standing on." And he did say, "You know what? Regardless, I'm going to use my platform." I'm paraphrasing what he said, to speak out against the hate from the current administration. Am I surprised that Jackson Dart supported President Trump, champ? No, I'm not. He's from Utah. So you kind of anticipated that he was going to support President Trump. Kind of like with Zach Wilson when the New York Jets drafted him with the number 2 overall pick. He's from Utah. He
Yeah.
played football at BYU. So look, like you said, and look, just because he supports President Trump, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a horrible human being.
No.
Look, Mark Calloway, better known in the wrestling world as The Undertaker,
Yes.
is a Trump supporter. He had President Trump on his podcast, along with Glenn Jacobs, better known as Kane.
Hmm.
Now, do I agree with Undertaker and Kane in terms of their political viewpoints? Certainly, I do not. That being said, just because you can have a conversation with the president or you align with the president doesn't necessarily make you an awful, horrible human being.
No.
As you always say, champ, I'd rather you straight shoot me than bullshit me.
Absolutely.
Abdul Carter appreciated the fact that, hey, Jackson Dart is standing on his position by supporting President Trump. Okay, cool. That's fine. Just because we have different political viewpoints doesn't mean that we can't coexist. Doesn't mean we can't work out. Doesn't mean we can't talk or communicate. It's going to be tough for the rest of the team, even though they're trying to do what they can to move this behind them because of President Trump and some of the awful and horrendous things that he has done or said, which I'm not going to get into. We already know.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to see how they move on from this, but I think, look, you have no other choice but to move on and deal with it. And New York Giants, they knew exactly what they get themselves into. Because look at John Harbaugh. He's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
He's met President Trump before, as well as I think with him and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So I think the New York Giants knew exactly what they're setting themselves into. I think it's just a bigger stage because, of course, it is Jackson Dart. He is the quarterback of the New York Giants. So when you're the quarterback, when you're the face of the franchise, when you're the CEO, you're held to a huge pedestal. You're held into a different standard compared to everyone else. If it were really a no-namer, would have been news, yeah, but not as much compared to Jackson Dart, of course. My thing is, look, hey, you said this is how you feel, Jackson Dart. This is how you feel about President Trump. That's your guy. Hey, fine, that's your guy. I don't agree with President Trump, but just because how you feel about him doesn't mean that you and I we can't coexist. We can't work. At the end of the day, we're just trying to get to the same goal. And look, at the end of the day, it's okay to agree or disagree. It's okay to agree or disagree. Look, Flash,
Yeah.
he is a conservative. Now, do I agree with Flash in terms of his political viewpoints? No, I do not.
But
But that
Flash is
doesn't
still
mean that Flash and I can't talk. That doesn't mean Flash and I can't be friends. Same thing that applies with Champ and BRF.
Yeah.
So it's we just gonna have to agree or disagree. Um, what are your thoughts about this, Champ? And I also want to ask you a couple more questions regarding this.
I'm going to speak the truth on this, and I have to be very, very honest about it. Do I have a problem with him meeting President Trump or introducing him? No. Do I have a problem with him supporting President Trump? No. And another thing we have to keep in mind, Trump is from New York. So who are you going to get to introduce you other than one of the most recognizable faces in New York City outside? Because you know some of the basketball players, they wasn't going to introduce your ass. So, I can't
Neither
see.
the rest of them New York Giants players.
Yeah, so I can't see Jalen Brunson introducing President Trump. So, I mean, so who else were you going to get other
Definitely
than
not Cat.
no, hell no. So, but I digress. Number one, I have no problem with him introducing President Trump, just like I didn't have a problem with Joey Bosa wore his MAGA hat on the press conference. I have no problem with any of that.
Nick Bosa, I
Here's
think.
Nick Bosa, excuse me, I apologize. My bad, Mr. Bosa. I have no problem with anyway. Matter of fact, I said he shouldn't be fined. I said he shouldn't be fined. Here's my problem, though. Here's my problem. Okay, I don't have no problem when they do that. The problem is when you tell athletes from the other side that they can't voice their political beliefs. That's my only problem. So it's freedom of speech as long as you agree with me. But the minute I step outside of the bounds of what you want me to say or what you need me to say, then it's a problem. And I agree with Abdul Carter. Hey, I'm not looking for you to say you're sorry or anything like that. Stand on what you believe in, but just know when I stand on what I believe in, I don't want to hear no shit about it.
Exactly.
The thing is, okay, Jackson Dart, you are a Trump supporter. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. Hell, my godson's father, he's a Trump supporter. I'm gonna say that again. My godson's father, he's a Trump supporter. Read into that what you will. But me and him still cool to this day. My problem is with the media. This is strictly for the media or anybody else who has a problem. Is this when the other side says something, do exactly what you tell us to do when you say something. Shut your mouth. Because whenever LeBron James or any other guy has something to say about anything political, you say politics don't belong in sports. You say keep politics out of sports. You
Or
say
shut up and
politics,
dribble.
you say shut up and dribble. You say all of this other nonsense. You say shut up and throw the ball. You should be concentrating on this. Even when I never forget when Caitlin Clark, she got backlash for liking a picture of Taylor Swift endorsing uh, former Vice President Kamala Harris. They say you saw all the backlash on it. She doesn't know enough about politics. She just needs to concentrate on the game. No,
I'm sorry, Jeb. You know what? I'm laughing since you brought up Caitlin Clark. Do you remember that country music artist she was in that concert with?
yeah, I was
And guess what? For those who want to label Caitlin Clark a sellout or racist or anything like that, newsflash: Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey,
Mike
Tyrese
Tyson, the
Halliburton,
GOAT.
Mike Tyson, Tom Brady, others have been to his concert, have been around him. So
NBA young boy.
therefore, if you're going to label Caitlin Clark that, are you going to apply the same energy to everyone else? Sorry to cut you off, champ.
No, you good, man. I mean, you brought up a valid point. But the thing is this, man. Let's keep the same energy. The only problem that I have is this. We cannot, I don't want, look, I'm going to preface this by saying, I don't care if you're conservative. I do not care. I don't care. Speak your truth, speak your mind. I don't care if you're Democrat. Speak your truth, speak your mind. Okay, but the thing is, here's what I'm noticing. When guys like Jackson Dart, they go out there and support who they want to support, then guess what? They get all the support, they get all the adulation in the world. Yeah, stand up for what you believe in. Yeah, stand up. That a boy. Yeah. But when LeBron James or whoever, Angel Reese or whoever, say remember Angel Reese got blowback on saying after President Harris lost the election. I can't believe we hate. Well, you don't know enough to speak on politics. No, if you're going to sit around here and say, "Hey, Jackson Dart should be allowed to say and stand by what he believes in," I have no problem with that. I stand for that. That's why we're in America. But at the same time, STFU, when anybody else comes out and stand about what they believe in, don't tell them to shut up and dribble. Don't tell them to be quiet. Don't say get that son of a bitch off the field, he's fired, Mr. Trump. Don't say all of that when it's the other side's turn to voice their beliefs, because now you're being hypocritical. And two things I can't stand: hypocrisy and double standards. I don't do any of that. So guess what? I have no problem with Jackson Dart supporting who he supports. Undertaker does the same thing. I'm never going to say anything bad about the Undertaker or Mayor Kane, Glenn Jacobs. I have no problem with that. My problem is this: when the other side says what they got to say, it's always shut up and dribble. It's always, well, why I got to be about this? Why I got to be about that? No. Okay, you got your chance to hear your voice. Let's give the other side a chance to hear theirs. I don't have no problem with hearing your voice. Matter of fact, I have conversation with guys. Me and Flash have conversations off the record. We have conversations off the record about what he thinks. And a lot of conversations surprise me because, I hate politics. I used to be a soldier. Politics gets people killed, and particularly soldiers. Because whenever some dumbass politician gets mad, soldiers suffer. So, guess what? The soldiers win the wars, the politicians negotiate the treaties. Read into that what you will. But the thing is this, I have no problem. Jackson Dart, support who you're going to support. Cool. Now, at the same time, don't be out here cosplaying. Yeah. Don't be out here cosplaying something you ain't. Don't be out here doing all that other stuff and then be who you are. I have
Referring
no
to
problem.
are you referring to the chains,
Yeah,
the
yeah. Don't be cosplaying.
in other
Be
words,
who you
basically
are.
what for those what Champ is saying, don't be a phony because the last
Don't
thing that
be
people last thing that you don't like, especially down south.
is a damn phony. Be who you are. If that's who you are, be who you are. I have no problem with you being yourself. Be yourself. I have no problem with it. I have no problem. The problem that I have is this: when guys like Nick Bosa, Jackson Dart, whoever, when they say what they gotta say politically, it is they live. That's what it's about. That's what America's all about. This is what this country's all about. Freedom of speech, standing on what you believe in. Yeah, and I agree wholeheartedly. You're allowed to say who you support, what you believe in, who you believe in. I'm fine with that. Cool. But when the other side got something to say, shut your damn mouth. Because you ain't the only one with something to say. You ain't the only one with a voice. They got a voice too. You can't play your radio. You can't expect for me to want to listen to your radio being played loud while you muzzle me, while you muzzle the other side. Because when the other side got something to say, it's shut up and dribble the fucking ball. When your side got something to say, it's always I want to sing praises. So be fair. That's all I ask. I have no problem with Jackson Dart cheering for President Trump. Cool. Hell, James Brown endorsed Richard Nixon.
Who
Sammy
is a
Davis
Republican?
Jr. Endorsed Richard Nixon,
Who is a Republican?
who is a Republican. Wilt Chamberlain endorsed Richard Nixon. So again, politics plays a big role in the sports and the entertainment world. You cannot escape it. And if you're trying to escape it, if you're going to lie to yourself about it, about sports and politics going hand in hand, ask yourself this: what the hell do you think pays for them big ass $1 billion stadiums? Oh, it's taxpayer dollars who we ironically have to vote on. And if you don't believe that you can lose your team because you don't vote for a new stadium, just ask the Kansas City Chiefs what just happened, and the Chicago Bears what just happened, and the Chicagoans what just happened when they didn't vote properly. Oh yeah, you just lost your damn team to somebody who was willing to play for it. And so I'm gonna just say this: Jackson Dart should be allowed to say what he believes in. I have no problem with that. But when Jaylen Brown comes out and says his piece, I don't want to hear the news talk about what they want to talk about. When LeBron James come out and says something, I don't want to hear anything. If Angel Reese or whoever in the WNBA, because we know that the Atlanta Dream, they threatened to walk out on on one of their previous owners for what she said during COVID. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear sports has no business in the political realm because you just let this young man endorse who he would like to endorse. So with that being said, do I have a problem with Jackson Dart doing it? No, indeed not.
Just keep the same energy,
Keep
basically all
that
you saying.
same energy when LeBron, Jaylen Brown, the Atlanta Dream, or anybody else has something to say politically. Don't make fun of them. Don't say shut up and dribble. Don't say shut up and throw the ball. Let them talk just as you would Jackson Dart. Okay? Because whenever somebody agrees with you, you have no problem with listening to what they have to say. But when the conversation gets uncomfortable, that's when you want to shut somebody out real quick. Don't shut somebody out because their opinion is different than you.
Unfortunately, champ, in the words of Vince McMahon, there's no chance in hell. Because no, I'm sorry, champ, and the reason why I say that is because entitlement is at all damn high. Because President Trump is trying to do everything he can to get Washington, the Commanders, to go back to the original name. And for those who say that it's not offensive, that politics don't play a role, yes, it does. And for those who do not think that the name is offensive, again, I'll say it again. Go to a Native American reservation, go use that term in front of them, and see what will happen. Um, I understand to your point, Champ, the hypocrisy. Jackson Dart, if he wants, like I said, if he wants to support President Trump, that's his business. I don't care. It's no surprise.
Yeah.
To your point, don't tell somebody else who wants to voice their political opinions or anything. Don't tell them to shut up and dribble. Just be like, okay, cool. You said what you said. I may not necessarily agree, but hey, free speech is free speech. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to what you think. And the reason why I bring up The Undertaker and why The Undertaker is a great example, champ, again, do I agree with Taker? No, I do not. That being said, has anyone ever accused Taker of his integrity, his character? No. The reason why he wasn't booed on the first night on the Raw of Netflix compared to, I'm sorry, rest his soul, Hulk Hogan, was because of Hulk Hogan's shady behavior. What he
Yeah.
did as far as his racism, his bigotry, what he did to his peers, particularly Undertaker, particularly Jesse the Van Ventura, particularly Bret Hart, particularly Mick Foley, Dr. D, David Schultz. Hulk Hogan, behind the scenes, sorry, but these are facts, was a huge fraud and liar.
Yeah.
That's why he was despised. That's why he was booed on the Raw on Netflix. And at the time, I didn't have a problem with it. Before, unfortunately, his death. As for Jackson Dart, how will New York move on from him? Again, no problem with him supporting President Trump. If that's how you feel, fine. That's how you feel. To your point, champ, you already stole my thunder. I knew where you're gonna come. Keep the same energy. And I'm really tired of having this conversation regarding this type of stuff. I know we have to because again, it is an athlete, a professional athlete, aligning himself with the president of the United States. Look, we just gonna have to agree or disagree. If and for others who say Jackson Dart is a racist because he's aligning themselves with President Trump, let's not go that far. Again, I don't agree with the political viewpoints or standpoints. That's how you feel. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
And look, we're not going to always agree, or we're not always going to agree or disagree on a lot of other things. But that doesn't mean we can't coexist. That doesn't mean we can't talk. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean we can't be friends. We can handle ourselves like with Champ and I. We don't always agree with a lot of other things, but that's cool. Because at the end of the day, we're grown ass men,
Yeah, we are.
smart grown ass men. Therefore, I like to think we can handle ourselves like grown ass men. Same thing with me and Flash. Same thing with me and BRF. It's okay to agree or disagree. But I do love the point that you brought up, Champ, the double standard. And speaking of that, what do you say to those, Champ, who feel like when Jackson Dart, when he's entitled to express himself, okay, cool. But when Colin Kaepernick did, when Colin Kaepernick expressed himself by taking the flag, the national anthem, how they thought it was disrespectful, the public and the media, but Kaepernick made it clear it's not about the military men and veterans, men and women. It's about the racial inequalities. It's about the racism. It's about the oppression that people of our color deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: don't give yourself a microphone to speak and give me a muzzle. That's what I will say. And it's not just Colin Kaepernick. There's a lot of other people who didn't get a chance to who got blackballed. People will always talk about Colin Kaepernick, but remember Craig
Mahmoud Abdul
Hodges?
Rauf,
Yeah, Abdul Rauf,
Craig
Craig
Hodges.
Hodges, just to
Yeah,
name a few. Those guys were blackballed
right. But the reason why
multiple
Colin
times.
Kaepernick is the huge example because obviously recency bias
Yeah,
and the stance and the position that he took. And remember, Nate Boyer, the former soldier,
yeah,
he convinced Kaepernick and told him instead of sitting, why
yeah.
don't you take a knee?
And he was a veteran.
Yes,
And
and he was actually there when Kaepernick was taking a knee during the time. He even asked Kaepernick even asked him, "Can you kneel with us?" And he didn't want to do that because how it would look, because from an optics standpoint, because him being a former soldier.
yeah,
But I think, Champ, look, we can to me, look, we just gonna have to agree or disagree. And the reason why is it's more than beyond sports. I mean, there's conversations about this on CNN, Fox Sports, NBC Sports. You
yeah,
know, there's going to be constant dialogues about it, and that's just how it is. I just think, to me, is it really that huge of a deal? No, because again, if you take the time to do your homework and research, like you and I have about Jackson Dart, it's no surprise.
yeah. He's from
It
Utah, played ball at Ole Miss. But why are you surprised? I mean, and the thing is this, like I said, I'm not surprised. Again, don't be cosplaying. Don't try to be some you ain't. Cool. Don't try to be some you ain't. Be who you are. Be out front with it. I'd rather you shoot straight with me than to bullshit me. That's just being real. And I want you to be very, very cosmic on what you're representing. Like I stated, I have no problem with people saying, hey, he should be allowed to voice his opinion. But don't try to muzzle the other side when they have an opinion. That's the thing. That's how come when they said Joey Bosa should have been fined. No, he shouldn't have. No. Nick Bosa
Nick
should have
Bosa, you mean
Nick
you're
Bosa
talking
should have
about the
been
Sunday
fined.
night football game
Yeah,
when he
when he
wore the
had
MAGA hat?
I said no, he shouldn't have. And the reason why I said he shouldn't is because guess what? When somebody would have came out with a President Harris T-shirt or a Barack Obama T-shirt or whoever T-shirt they would have came out with,
You would have
guess
said the
what?
exact thing.
I would have said the exact same thing. They shouldn't have been fined. That's their political beliefs. That's what they stand on. Let them stand on it. But the thing is, it's the double standard in the media for me. If you're gonna sit around here and let this young man be proud, loud and proud about who he represents and what he wants to represent, cool. Then guess what? When LeBron James or any of these basketball players or anybody else says what they have to say, then guess what? About whether it be social justice, who they want to vote for, why they're not voting for it, who's the mayor, whoever. Keep that same energy with them. Don't be sitting around here cursing them out, telling them to shut up and dribble, shut up and concentrate because you don't like their narrative. Keep that same energy. Say that they're allowed to have an opinion. Because when Drew Brees came out and said what he said, guess what? Fox News said, oh, yeah, he's allowed to have an opinion.
Laura Ingram.
Well, whatever the fuck her name is, I don't know. But
Yeah, but people
But
already
when
know who Laura
LeBron
Ingram.
James came out, she said, "Shut up and dribble."
She had the
Okay,
audacity
so
to say
keep that
shut up and
same
dribble.
energy. If Drew Brees, who is a Republican, is allowed to have an opinion, and he's entitled to an opinion, then guess what? Keep that same energy with the other side. Like I said, don't put a megaphone in front of your face when they agree with you, then want to put a muzzle on somebody else's when they don't. That's that's hypocrisy.
Well, champ, to
Because
say
I'm
that
not gonna put because like I said, I didn't have a problem with it when he did. Guess what? You that's what you believe.
well, champ,
Okay,
to say
cool.
hypocrisy would be we already knew it's hypocrisy. It's just the audacity, the temerity for you to tell us we are not allowed to express ourselves. We knew we were going to deal with consequences, as you always say, champ, with Ice T, to quote Ice T, freedom of speech. But,
Watch what you say.
and look, regardless, if that's how they feel, if that's how they want to talk about, so be it. Um, look, I just feel like we're in 2026. We're in a new time. The days of the shut up and dribble, stick to sports, that's long and gone. And champ, and you also brought up another great example with Jalen Brown because he's gotten a lot of blowback and criticism, particularly from Stephen A. Smith and others, by telling him what he can and what he cannot say and to stream and stuff. And I feel like Stephen A., isn't that wrong on your part to tell someone how they're supposed to think and feel?
Yeah,
Last
he
time
didn't
I
learn
checked,
anything from Kyrie. He didn't learn. He did. He hasn't learned anything from the Kyrie situation, has he?
obviously not. I
He
mean,
hasn't learned anything because if you really look at it, Jalen Brown and Kyrie essentially exactly the
they
same.
have they almost have the same exact egos. That's why again with Kyrie and Jalen Brown, they're very smart to themselves. Jalen Brown likes to challenge. Again, that's one of the reasons why you think he gets a bad rep because again, he's not corporate. He has his own shoe.
Yeah.
He does his own things his way. That's also another reason why I think that also kept him out of the Olympics team in 2024, just fresh off from winning the NBA Finals and Finals MVP.
And what
But
kept
the
him out of
thing,
the MVP race?
but the thing is, with the media, look, you allow Aaron Rodgers to say a lot of ridiculous, outrageous stuff. I'm sorry, but hey, he lied about his vaccination status.
That's not. That's not. I have my problems with Aaron Rodgers about
No,
certain
no,
things.
no, no, but the double standard champ. And again, everyone knows Aaron Rodgers is a conspiracy theorist. Again, do I have to remind you what Deshaun Kaiser, his former teammate, once said, once asked Aaron Rodgers of? Remember
Yeah.
that? Which we won't get into the details. I think everyone is, if you take the time to do the homework and the research, it's there. But the thing is, look, if that's who he wants to align, that's who he wants to align. He told me his colors. He told me exactly how he feels. My whole thing is cool. You're supposed to get a reaction from myself and Champ. No. What did we expect? He's from Utah. But to your point, Champ, keep the same energy. And to say that it's hypocritical, Champ, we already knew it's hypocritical. It's just the nerve, the audacity. But then again, I'm not surprised because people want to hold on to something. You want to have your cake and then you eat it too. You can't have it both ways. As far as Abdul Carter, I loved what he said. I wish the one thing that he would have done when Jackson Dart, the video of him introducing Trump, he should have at least had a private conversation with Jackson Dart. I
Yeah.
don't think he should have aired it out on social media. And Cam Newton even mentioned that on his podcast.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter can't have a man-to-man conversation. I just wish they would have handled it behind closed doors. And look, much respect to Abdul Carter. He told Jackson Dart, nah, you ain't got to apologize. I want to hear what you stand on. And if that's how you feel, stand on it. But just let you know, I'm going to stand on what I'm going to stand on. And that's cool. That's fine. Just because I respectfully disagree with someone, whether it's politics or anything else, doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to be friends with them. I'm not going to communicate with them. It's just one of those things that we're going to have to agree or disagree, but respectfully. But it's going to be hard for the rest of the other team to deal with Jackson Dart because, again, they may not feel the exact way as Abdul Carter or myself or you, for that matter, champ, feel. So it's going to be difficult for the team to move on and deal with this. But if you actually take the time to do some research on Jackson Dart's background, it's not really that much of a surprise. It's really not.
It's not.
And it just tells you, and sadly, champ, the reason why it's such a big deal is because most of them are unaware. You and I, we were not at all surprised. Because if you actually take the time to do the homework and the research, it's not surprising at all.
Yeah. It's really not. And you hate to put guys in a box because of where they're from, but when you confirm something rather than deny it, to put it in those certain terms, it's kind of like, okay, that's not surprising. It's kind of like somebody saying, hey, he's from Georgia. He must be a Georgia Bulldogs fan. So now you're out here shaking hands with, former coach, the former coach, well, the current coach, that being Kirby Smart, and now you got a Georgia Bulldogs jersey on. It's like, oh, okay, he's from Georgia. There's no surprise. But if you really look at it, it's not surprising. Like I said, just don't fake the funk. Don't be out here cosplaying something you ain't. Be who you are. I respect I respect Nick Bosa because he don't deteriorate from what he is. He came into the league saying certain stuff, and he stood by it. And he stood by it. He said certain things. He had a picture of uh, Ronald Reagan and Trump on his Instagram page saying that they were the goats. Okay, I respect you for doing that because guess what? At least you're out front with it. You're not cosplaying in order to gain a narrative, in order to gain control of the crowd, in order to be with the in crowd, in order to be one of the cool kids. I admire that. Guess what? Because you're not pretending to be something you ain't. When he came out with the MAGA hat, they had no problem because he's not pretending. Be a contender, don't be a pretender. You can get honey from a honeybee. You can't get a damn thing from a wannabe. Be who you are. At the same time, to the media out there, whether you be radio, TV, social media, commentary, Facebook, MySpace, whatever,
Don't
to the
bullshit.
media, to the media, don't have a problem with Jackson Dart doing what he did. Cool. Not looking for an apology because I know it would not be genuine. You're still going to support who you're going to support, regardless of an apology or no apology. At the same, in the great words of future, at the same damn time, when the other side has something to say, just like if he says give me liberty or give me death, on your side, if you hear somebody say give me liberty or give me death on your side, sing their praises, sing my praises just as loud for me being on the other side if I say the same thing. To quote the late great James Baldwin.
Well said, but unfortunately, champ, don't be surprised if people will criticize and say something about this. Don't be
Yeah.
surprised if Angel Reese, Jalen Brown, LeBron, Jalen Brunson, or whoever takes a certain position regarding politics. And for people like Fox News and others to criticize them. Because that's just how, sadly, that's just how it is. Don't be surprised if Megan Kelly, don't be surprised if Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Jason Whitlock or anyone else taking that position. Well, I'm sorry, but you know how Jason Whitlock is. He's
What's so funny
I
about
I
it?
I don't trust. Look, like I said, he's as real as Vanilla Ice's bio. That's all I've said about with Jason Whitlock. But go ahead.
Again, when people from the other side know you're a phony, Nick Fuentes or whatever the hell his name was, and he
Yes,
called you out and called you a token, when he calls you out and he's from the side that you're supposed to be
on
representing,
that tells you a lot about you.
that
You've
tells you
said
a
it
lot about
yourself.
your character. That tells you a lot about who you are. And that tells you a lot about how the phony little guy that you are. Because guess what? When people inside your house calling you out, there's one thing. When people outside your house calling you out, there's quite another.
Entirely.
Entirely. So again, the same praises when one side says give me liberty or give me death as you do another. Because guess what? That's what it's all about. That's how come I have no problem with it. That's how come when people go to certain concerts, hey, let them go. Let them go to it. Because when Chris Brown goes to Atlanta for the R&B concert with him and Usher, and Angel Reese and the Atlanta Dream go there, or the Atlanta Braves go there, you can best believe you're gonna hear some shit about it. But they let, you know, with a lot of controversy going on with the Morgan Whalen thing. And that's how come I have no problem with it, because the thing is this: if I'm gonna sing the praises, if I want one side to have a voice, you gotta let everybody have one. I can't pick and choose, and I'm not going to. I'm not gonna pick and choose and cherry pick who gets to have a voice, because I don't want who I roll with to be muzzled. That's how come I say I don't have a problem with it. So people who I roll with and know what I represent, and on the side that I'm on, say, hey, we stand for this, we don't stand for that. I don't want to be muzzled. So that's how come when somebody from the other side does something, I may not agree with it. Guess why I said it? Let them do it. So that way, when it's another side's turn, guess what? Oh, wait a minute. We ain't say that it was y'all turn. I used to tell people this no matter what the relationship is to people. I tell people this all the time. No matter what the relationship, don't get mad when it's my turn. When it's my turn to do the right thing, don't get mad. When it's my turn to reciprocate, don't get mad. Good or bad, don't get mad. So, with that being said, okay, let him have what he wants to have. Cool. At the same time, don't get mad when it's somebody else's turn. Don't tell them to shut up and dribble it in. Don't say sports. No, 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 no. Hell no. You saw this young man on there stage introducing somebody who you agreed with. Now you want to sit around here. You want to get pissed off because somebody's on the stage with somebody who you don't agree with. It's
But
give me liberty or give me death when you agree with me. When you don't agree with me, it's just give me death. So yeah, so I have no problem with him being on that stage. Go off. At the same time, LeBron, anybody else, the Atlanta Dream, anybody else sings their song or whatever, keep that same energy. Because guess what? When he came out and said whatever and did whatever he wanted to do, you sang his praises forever. And that's what it's all about.
but at the same time, champ, don't be surprised if they're gonna say something about it and tell people to shut up and dribble. Because unfortunately, sadly, that's just how it is.
And again, you will be presented with receipts.
They're gonna be presented with receipts. There's no
You
doubt
going
about that. They're gonna be
and
presented
I'm
with
talking about
receipts,
that
and nobody.
CVS receipt too.
Well,
CVS,
I
you
was
know
gonna.
that
Well,
receipt? That
you should
long
have.
ass receipt.
I was gonna mention Walgreens, but okay. But the bottom line is, champ, look, no one's gonna forget about this. And my thing is, people are gonna say something regardless and tell them to shut up and dribble. I just prefer. Look, at the end of the day, look, you said what you said. Cool. You said what you said. That's how you feel. Fine. But expect people to say something. Expect the bullshit to happen. If Angel Reese or somebody goes to a Chris Brown concert, they're gonna. I mean, it's gonna be criticism. And sadly, that's just how it is. It's gonna be anticipated, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Whitlock or anybody else would say something about it. Which is why sometimes, and I'm sorry, champ. Again, with I know you don't like politics because again, it's sometimes it could be very hypocritical, and again,
Sometimes.
a lot of time. Well, I'm being well. Fuck it.
100% of the time, politics is very, very hypocritical.
99.9% of the time is
Exactly. It's
very
very, very hypocritical because you
hypocritical.
could be
But at the same
speaking.
time, champ, I what do I expect? I don't expect nothing else.
Politics is the only thing in the world that you could be speaking straight facts upon the information that you're speaking upon. That's like I don't talk about it. Because sports is not like this way. Cartoons is not like this way. Music is not like this way.
But
Politics,
sports, no, no, but sports. To your point, when you mentioned about politics, if politics doesn't play a role, then how did we get these big ass stadiums, big ass arenas? As you
exactly.
mentioned before, with them taxpayers and all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
therefore, politics does play a role.
Yes, it does.
Look, it's okay to agree or disagree. That's it. It's okay to agree or disagree. If he wants to support Trump, that's his business.
Yeah.
That's it. This
Again,
is
but when somebody else support the other side.
No, I agree.
But
We agree. We agree,
no, I'm
champ.
not talking about you. I'm talking about the mass media. Don't sit around here and talk about, oh yeah, you need to shut up and dribble. When no, you said that Drew Brees, when he said what he said, he has a right to an opinion. You said that when Jackson Dart went on stage, that he has a right to support who he wants to support. Cool, I have no problem with that. Now, when somebody else supports who they want to support, keep that same blank energy. That's
But
all I. That's all I ask.
I
And
know,
like I
I know,
said,
I
in
know you.
politics is the only game in the world, the only one in the world where you can be speaking straight facts, no matter what side you are from, and it can be the absolute truth,
But
and
I
they
own.
still are going to fight you because of how they feel about something. You can be speaking straight facts about a political policy, about a political anything, but because of how a person feels, how they were raised, they're going to fight you about it.
But at the
And
same
that's the
time,
reason why I stay away from politics.
champ, as I've told you before, do you expect when Angel Reese or LeBron or Jalen Brunson or anybody else doing something like that, expect it though? Because at this point, at this time at this time, are we really surprised? I mean, come on, come on. That's like President Trump asking me, "Are you doing a good job?" Are we surprised? Are we really surprised if people gonna say something about it? No, I'm not.
No,
And it's sad though because again, look, you tell us to shut up and dribble, but when someone expresses themselves, okay, cool, but you can't do the same. At this point, as you always say with double standards, champ, yeah, you don't like them, but what do you expect?
that's fair.
But love having this conversation with you, big fella. Always appreciate your perspective on a lot of other things. I know this was very uncomfortable for you to talk about, but just gotta do
Taking
what we
people
gotta
out
do.
their comfort zone as usual, PSP. uh,
Well, listen. Like I said, one thing about this podcast is that we're gonna say whatever we're gonna say. We're just gonna be keep it real. We're just gonna be fair. We're gonna be honest. We're not gonna bullshit. That's not
yeah.
what we're gonna do. But speaking of one of my favorite topics on the Sports PSP podcast, baby face or heel. Now, for those who may not know, in wrestling language, babyface is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, tweener is someone in between, babyface or heel.
Here come this shit.
Cheyenne Bryant.
Tweener.
Okay.
Tweener. I'm not gonna pile on her like that, but I'ma just be real, man.
She is fine though.
But she fine, and that's like 25% of the reason I'm gonna give her a pass on this. That's about 25% of the reason. But look, Doc, look, I'ma just be real.
I'll
Look,
say 40% of the reason.
that's 25%, but I'ma just be real. Ain't a black person or person of color in the world that don't know where the fuck they degree at. It's somewhere in their mama house, their grandmama house, or somewhere in somebody's house sitting around. And they got their some gun somewhere, either hanging on a wall or in a chest somewhere with their other information at. I know where all four of my degrees are. They're at my mother's house right now, sitting in a sealed chest. All four of them. My master's degree will be sitting in there 2 years from now. So there's not a person in the world, especially a person of color, that does not know where the fuck their degree at as well as their transcript. A copy of my transcript is downloaded to my computer that I'm speaking from right now. I keep it on a computer just in case. I keep a copy of it on my phone just in case.
You got the
So,
same phone like me.
yeah.
Great minds
So,
think alike.
great minds think alike. So, every person of color, whether you black, Puerto Rican, every person of color whose ancestors know what it's like to struggle for a damn education, knows where the hell their degrees at. They know where they damn high school diploma at. Hell, I still got my Head Start diploma in that same chest where my 4 degrees are. So I know where every diploma and every degree is. So time to produce them credentials, because guess what? If it was anybody else, we'd be asking them, where did you get your degree from? And we would expect them to produce those receipts and those credentials. So for you to say, I don't know, no, we would be asking for everybody else's stuff. So it's not a double standard here. They're just going to ask you, where did you get that degree from? Especially if you are out here giving relationship advice and you are claiming to be a doctor. You can't be and the thing is, if you're pretending to be a quote unquote doctor, that is an insult to a lot of other doctors who have gotten their doctorate degree. I know over 1,000 people. I myself, I know over 1,000 people. I've met over 1,000 people in my lifetime. A lot of those people are on Facebook. Well, never mind. I know 2,000 people. All 2,000 of my friends on Facebook. I know them personally. Either I met them in school, I met them in the army, I met them in some walk of life. I met them podcasting. I have met them. There's not one person on my Facebook that I have not personally have an encounter with. There's not been one. Everybody, every last one of them, I have known and I've crossed paths with. Out of all of those 2,000 people that I know from my Facebook page, do you know how many doctors I know are from that list out of 2,000 people? Two. One went to Spelman, the other went to Mercer. So out of 2,000 people that I personally have had an encounter with, I only know two doctors. That's 1% of the people that I know. And I'm nobody. I'm just the average Joe walking around. So put that into context of what you think. That just goes to show you how rare getting a doctorate degree is, much less a medical doctor degree. I know 2,000 people, only two doctors. That's 1%. That just goes to show you how rare it is. And the thing is, neither one of those people hesitate to tell people that they're a doctor. Both of them, when I see them in public, in passing, when I see them both, no matter where I see them, do you know what I say? What's up, doc? That's exactly what I call them. What up, doc? And then I keep moving. And ironically, both of those doctors that I know are black women. Both of them. One is a medical doctor, and the other one, she has a PhD. Both of them are doctors. And I can't and I know one more doctor. His name is Dr. Holloman. I served with him. There's 3 doctors out of 2,000 people. That's 1%. Dr. Holloman, Sergeant first class. I served with him back during Iraqi freedom. 3 doctors. 3. So guess what? They know where their degrees at. It's well known that they are doctors. So, and ironically, 2 of them are women, and 1 of them is a black man. And we address them as doctor, even when I see them in passing. And I know these guys. And when I see them in passing, I say, "What up, doc?" So with that being said, you faking the funk is an insult to those guys, in my humble opinion, because they worked damn hard in order for them to achieve that. They did something that I ain't finna do. I ain't nowhere near finna go to school another 8 more damn years in order to do that shit. No. That is a difficult task to do. So, guess what? You have every right to give relationship advice. People with less credentials than you giving relationship advice. But at the
Hell, there's
same
red
time,
pillars that are actually giving advice,
oh
and they
fuck
don't
them
really
dudes.
practice what they preach,
Oh
which I'm
fuck
gonna
them
get
dudes.
into
That'd
in
be
just a
alright.
second.
Fuck them dudes. They a bunch of. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I'm
No,
not
you
gonna.
could you
I'm
could
not a
say it.
bunch of dudes that ain't never that don't get no pussy anyway and trying to talk about women. So fuck them dudes. I'm just being real. None of that red pill bullshit. So
She's a
again,
tweener,
she's a
Doctor
tweener. She's a
Doctor
tweener.
Bryant.
Produce
Okay,
that diploma though. We want to see it. Not because we want to ridicule you, because we want. I think people think it's more ridicule, but the thing is, we want to have somebody who about what they talk about. There's so much phony shit going on the internet, in the damn political office, in the Oval Office. There's so much phony shit going on. We want to know that you're authentic about what you say. People
well
are
the
taking it as ridicule, but it's really
well
we want to know that
here's
what
the
you say
reason
is
why,
true.
champ. Here's the reason why Cheyenne Bryan went viral after stating she operates without a license, claiming that the only reason to hold one is to bill insurance. She defended her title by stating she is a quote psychology expert and life coach rather than a therapist and thus does not require clinical licensing or board oversight. Okay, I'll say tweener with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Hell, I'll say it. Damn, she fine. She's fine. She fine. She's fine. She she is fine. She is a beautiful, sexy, gorgeous woman. So that's one of the reasons why I lean towards tweener. And she was also known. Remember, champ, she was a video vixen. Remember, she used to be in them B2K videos, music videos.
Yeah.
For those who may not know, I'm gonna say tweener with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, look, does she need to stop calling herself doctor unless she can prove her credentials, her resumes? Because I've been to therapy offices as well as you, champ. They should have to show that type of stuff.
Yes.
Otherwise, people are gonna start questioning your credentials, and damn sure you can lose your job. And the other thing too with the doctors, they're not afraid or ashamed to hide their credentials or degrees. Why do you feel you don't need to? You have to. Because how are we supposed to believe or assume that you are a doctor? And again, champ, the last thing people don't despise a phony.
Exactly.
And it looks pretty bad because you're claiming that you're a doctor, but when people are questioning your degrees and everything else, and if you don't want to show it, then how are we supposed to take you at your word? What makes your word credible? Credibility is everything, especially if something of that occupation. But just
Even if you have
because
an
she,
honorary doctorate, show it. I mean, Shaq shows his off. He has an honorary doctorate.
but that's the thing. We will never know unless you can prove us otherwise. If you can prove it, and if it's certified, okay, then people like us can shut the fuck up. But I say tweener champ because look, just because she may not be a doctor, that doesn't mean she can't give advice. That doesn't mean she can't give her opinion. Hell, I'll say this. You say fuck them red pillars, I'll say fuck them red pillars as well. You know Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast?
Yeah, the fake black man. Yeah.
You know he did say that watching professional sports is one of the gayest things ever.
Yeah. I mean, Hayden Windman is one of the gayest things ever. You
So so
know.
so us so us like ourselves, myself, Champ, Trent, BRF, Flash, everyone else who follows and covers sports, watching professional sports is one of the gayest things ever because we're sitting at home watching professional sports while we're eating pizza or whatever. That makes us gay. And look, for the record, we have no problem with anyone being gay, lesbian,
Yes.
bisexual, transgender, whatever. That's what you want to be. So be it. But I do think it's absurd, ridiculous that people like Myron Gaines are being able to have a platform and saying all this type of shit. Not only that, champ, they're also monetizing off of it.
Again, man, I call that dude a fake black man. That dude want to say the N word and do all this other stuff, but when it's
No,
time
what? No, no, he despises black people. I don't
no,
know if you
that's the
know.
thing. And
No, no,
but
no,
he
no.
claims to be black. That's the thing. He claims
Really?
to be black, but he's
Wait, champ, are we sure? Because I don't know if you noticed in one of his live streams, he was wearing a KKK suit.
again, he claims to be black, much like Jason Whitlock, and he comes around. And the thing is, I always say this: guys like that who talk about guys who doing it's because they never were athletes. Me personally, I was an athlete. I was a professional. I was a amateur boxer. I got two. I know three forms of martial arts. Surprise! I know three forms of martial art. I know Chinese Goju-Ryu, Shaolin, and Tonsil Muda Kwan. And I used to box. So I used to be an athlete, and I played offensive line, and I fought for my country. So if that makes me quote unquote gay, all right, whoop de doo. In the great words of Young Thug. So the thing is, guys like that always got something to say until they get into the room, until they get in the room, and then now they are all, they can't say anything. In the great words of a great man by the name of Ice T, you stupid ignorant. Don't even talk to me. In school, you drop math, science, and history. And then you get on the mic and try to act smart. But let me tell you one thing, you got heart. So, again, you have no game. And then dude called you out about dude stealing your girlfriend or whatever. And guess what? You shut up then.
Not
You
only
have
that,
they
his girlfriend even admitted that they ain't getting, they haven't done anything.
exactly. So you out here, perpetrating the fraud. So I'm glad I'm not as big as I would like to be certain times because I'm like, bro, if you got all that mouth, let's take the Jake Paul route and get in the ring. So all of this nonsense that people be talking is dumb.
But the thing is,
You speak hatred upon women, you speak hatred upon people of color. You claim you're a person of color, but you speak ill will on them, but yet you have a platform, but yet we mad at Cheyenne Bryant.
but that's
Go
why I
figure.
said the double standard, champ, and why I don't think Dr. Cheyenne Bryan should be canceled or should not be allowed to speak because there are far worse other content creators. Myron Gaines, Sneeko,
Dumbass Andrew Tate.
Jason Whitlock.
Mm.
People say a bunch of incoherent shit, but guess what? They're still able to monetize and get their money. The only people that really come so far to Cheyenne Bryant's defense is Amanda Seals and Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson basically said, I think it was the Art of Dialogue podcast, where he doesn't care really if Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is a actual doctor. He also claimed that black women are jealous of Cheyenne Bryant in terms of the success that she has as far as making money, the lavish lifestyle, her being sexy and attractive. I did not. The other reason why, the other problems I have with Dr. Cheyenne, I keep saying Dr. Cheyenne Bryant because I'm used to it, but Cheyenne Bryant, I did not like the video of her interrupting Torre. Remember the video I sent you, Champ, with her with Torre as they're about to wrap up the show, and Torre was being disrespected by Cheyenne Bryant by telling him, I'm not your wife. I'm not your fucking wife, using profanity and type of stuff. If you are a doctor, if you're claiming to be a doctor, doctors don't act like that. They act more professional and courteous. I don't know too many, and you know doctors, champ. Do they act like that?
No. Again, I have a problem with that because Torre is a world renowned journalist.
Journalists.
I mean, he interviewed some of the all time more controversial figures. I mean, and I'm talking about Suge Knight. So,
He interviewed, also interviewed R. Kelly.
I was really trying to skip over that, but
No, but no, we
I
can
was really trying to skip over that, but
we one listen. I don't care. I don't care if
I was trying. Funny thing about what he said about Suge Knight is how smart and articulate that Suge was because
Well, Suge no dummy.
yeah,
I
Suge's
mean,
no
look, to
dumb.
say what you want about Suge Knight, but again, you've talked about it before, champ. Remember how he used his platform to bring awareness for Mother's Day? Suge was brilliant behind the scenes as far as negotiating deals and everything else.
Yeah, and he was a graduate of UNLV. Let's
Yes.
give credit for that. Shout out to UNLV, the Running Rebels. But yeah, I mean, he interviewed one of the more controversial figures of all time, and he said during that interview he asked him about a certain lawsuit that the late great Dick Gregory of Solar Records had, and a lot of uproar happened, and Suge asked him to rewind the whole tape from the beginning, and told him to shut up. And literally, Suge Knight literally recapped everything that he said without Torre asking him not one question. Then when he got to the part right before the lawsuit, he said, "Now shut the tape off." He said, "You got your interview, now get out of here." And he shut that tape off, and he said he got gone. But Torre is a world-renowned journalist. I think that certain question that he asked Mr. Kelly, that I think that was
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and then R. Kelly's response
yeah,
right after that.
yeah. So I think that was one of the more I would say outrageous is I know that's not a word, the more outrageous uh, interviews that he ever gave. But he's a world renowned journalist, and if he's wrapping something up, don't you ain't gotta act like that, man. I mean, you only act like that when you are in a defense mode. And from what I saw in the interview, it was not anything disrespectful as far as what Tori said. But these days it's all about narrative at this point. But I have no problem with it. But guess what? We want people think it's a mode to bring you down, but really we just want to see your credentials so we can say we're more proud. It's like, look, you talk the talk, you walk the walk, cool. It's all good. Like I said, if somebody asks me to produce my 4 degrees, they write on the internet for you to see them. They write on the internet for you. As a matter of fact, I give you the date to go to June 20th, 2024, 2025, excuse me. That is where you will go to find my degrees. And I graduated, ironically, less than 4 years after I got my first two. So you'll find every last one of them between the month of May and the month of June, between the years of 2020 and 2025, on my Instagram page because I posted them all. I even posted my certification that I got from college. That's how come you called me the 5-time college champion, because guess what? I not only got 4 degrees, I have a certification in network administration.
Right.
So guess what? I can produce that and you can stand by it. And people always think, well, some y'all hating. No, we want to know that you about what you're talking about and you about what you preach about, not all this other nonsense. And once you produce it, hey, I'm gonna just be real. Somebody asked me to produce my degree or anything else, any other credential that I got, I'm gonna put it up where you can see it just on the premise of shutting you the hell up. I'm not gonna waste no time. Produce a degree. There you go. You want to see the GPA too? 3.2. Surprise. So yeah, I'm gonna produce it just off the strength of making you shut the hell up and making you eat your words. And I think that's what I want to see Dr. Cheyenne Bryant do. Just shut them up, so that way they can't say nothing. That's just
Well,
the logical
the
thing to do.
that is the logical thing to do. But the fact that you're unwilling to do it, then what does it say about you? It tells us that you're pretty suspicious because most doctors are unafraid to share their degrees or resumes. They're not afraid, and plus they look at it as a badge of honor. And with Cheyenne Bryant, are you really practicing what you preach? And plus, remember, she's been received a lot of criticism from podcasts that she's been on, particularly Cam Newton. Remember him and Corey Holcomb, the conversation that they had about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant? S-
Corey can't say anything because
No, no Corey. Look, you may say he can't say anything, but he even said, "Hey, where's her resume? Where's her degrees?" He's saying exactly what you said, champ.
Yeah, where your resume? I mean, hell, somebody get. Hey, look, man. When one of my brothers got his barber's license, we hung that shit up in grandma's house. When you accomplish something, you're proud of it, and we want you to be proud of it, man. We don't look. People always think that when we ask you to produce something, we hate. No, we want to be proud. We want to be proud. Hell, I'll never forget when you told me that you have 2 degrees. I'm like, damn, for real. I'm like, that's something to be proud of.
I have
You
one
want,
actually.
yeah, one, two, hell, the bell. I'm. It, that's not the point. But you told me you had one. Cool. I'm proud of you. You have one. I have one. We some smart motherfuckers. Let's be some smart motherfuckers together. So let's just be real. We want to be proud. And like
Right.
I said, when you talk about people of color, black people, Haitian, brown people, Mexican, Puerto Rican, you name it, how disenfranchised we were for so long as far as education, basic education goes. There's not a person in the world who doesn't show their high school diploma and their degrees. Guess what? I mean, and even your high school diploma, you say you got to show your high school diploma now. So yeah, you got to show it.
No,
And
no, she has to.
just off the premise of shutting people up, just here you go.
But at the end of the day, whether she is not a licensed doctor or not, I don't think just because she may not be that, that doesn't mean that she can't give advice or can't
Yeah, you
speak
can
what's
give
on her
advice.
mind. Because, like I said, there are a bunch of other content creators who say a bunch of dumb shit, like Myron Gaines and Sneeko. And hell, look, Jada Pinkett Smith had the Red Table Talk, and she was trying to act like she's a medical expert. So my thing is, if people could do that, then Cheyenne Bryan could do this. So that's why I say tweener. Because at the end of the day, look, it's bad enough people are questioning your credibility as a doctor, but I don't think it's to the point where you are unqualified to say what's on your mind. Just prove, just show us the degrees or the receipts, and if you can do that, and if it's certified, then people won't question you anymore.
Did you see
Not
that bikini photo though?
far better than Joy Taylor, but that's a story for another day.
That's story for another day, boy. Still the same peanut butter, but still,
Well,
just
hers is more caramel, but
yeah, honey.
but speaking of Suge Knight, because you mentioned the Suge Knight, Master P, Babyface, smart,
Babyface.
former NBA, used to play for the, tried to play for the Toronto Raptors, but the thing I always respected and admired about Master P, other than the fact that most other rappers got into legal issues, he did not. And Snoop Dogg, he was on his podcast, I think, Arian Foster's podcast or radio show, and he talked about the discrepancy between how Suge Knight and Master P handled business. When Suge Knight handled business, the house, the cars, everything else under Suge Knight's name. Snoop talked about how in No Limit, this house is in your name. These cars are in your name. Any other property is under your name. He was educating him and teaching him the business.
Yeah,
Also, he helped out Snoop as far as with No Limit because at that point it was hell for him in Death Row during those later stages of years. Dr. Dre, he departed from Death Row from I think March of 1996. Months later, the assassination of Tupac Shakur. Then Suge Knight going to prison for a probation violation. So Snoop at that time was lost, and Master P brought him in. Of course, make them say, na na
na
na
na
na na
na
na
na
na.
na na na.
The Southern rap music, what he means to New Orleans, the pillar of the community. And look, he proved Master P proved that you know what, you can still be about hip hop, but you can also still be about business. You can also still be about education, do a lot of great things for your community. And again, Master P Champ, all he may not he's the southern version of MC Hammer. He's the southern version of MC Hammer because Hammer, I thought way too many times he got a bad rap from the rap community and the black community because people labeled him a sellout and a fraud. But nah, Hammer was still true to his colors from the streets of Oakland, still did a lot of great things for the communities and stuff like that. And with Hammer, has Hammer gotten to any legal issues, like any charges or anything like that? No. And that's how I look at it with Master P. Master P is about business. Master P is about education. Master P is about evolution. And considering what Snoop talked about and what a lot of people have talked about with Master P, I say babyface.
Babyface, undisputed babyface. Now them shoes was ugly as hell. That's how come I say them. That's how come this.
They're
That's
not
how
as
come
ugly as
I,
them Trump sneakers.
not as ugly at all. But there's a reason why, shout out to Lloyd Banks because that's where I got it from. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to New York. That's why I always say it's about to get uglier than the Masterpiece sneakers. No, look, I Got the Hookup was great.
That was a
Body
good
Body
movie.
was great.
I didn't mind Uncle P.
Yeah, Uncle P. I mean, Hot Boys
Yes.
was great. There's a lot of, look, I'm going to just be real. Foolish was great. Funny story. Foolish was about Eddie Griffin's life. He gave Eddie Griffin $1 million for the script from Foolish. Do you know why? Doing a comedy show that Eddie Griffin had down south. I forget what state it was in. I don't think it was in New Orleans. I think it was in Mississippi somewhere. Master P asked, can he open up for him? Can he open up for Eddie Griffin doing one of his comedy shows? He said, yeah. Years later, Master P made it big, paid him $1 million for the script for Foolish. Master P did it his own way. He got a distribution deal, and he wrote the book on how to handle business from that standpoint. He did his own promotion. He did his own CD. The only thing that the record label had to worry about was distribution. He set the groundwork for labels like, Rockefeller, like Cash Money, like Murder Inc. He laid the groundwork for places like that. He owned 90% of everything. The label was only responsible for distribution. And he sold CDs for $19 a pop. And he was bringing out 20 albums a year on his label. 20 albums a year, and you and your label get all the money. And the parent label only gets 10%. It's a 90-10 deal. Something unheard of. You did your albums much like you did your movies. All independent. Body about it. Independent. Hot Boys. Independent. I Got the Hookup. Independent. Did you know that Foolish, the movie starring him and Eddie Griffin, beat Star Wars in the box office?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, they beat Star Wars in the box office. Did you know the first the first rap mogul to be involved in sports was who?
Master P.
Master P. And people criticized him for Ricky Williams' contract, but people don't understand. Ricky Williams asked for that contract. He was negotiating for Ricky Williams to be the highest paid running back in the league. He was negotiating for him to be the highest paid running back in the league. Ricky Williams said, "Nah, we're not going to do that. People complain about athletes. We're going to go with a basic deal, and I'll make up for the rest of it in incentives." Unfortunately, he didn't get those incentives. But the first guy who owned everything, produced his own records, produced his own music videos, executive producer of every single album, beats by the pound. And I mean some hits too. It wasn't no bullshit coming out of No Limit.
No, he
It wasn't no
founded
bullshit
the
coming out of
label
No
back
Limit.
in he founded the label back in 1991,
Yeah,
dominated during the late 90s, sold for over 35 million albums in a 4-year span, including with Snoop, Mystical, and his brother Sick the Shocker. He turned a $10,000 insurance settlement into a $200 million entertainment and business empire.
yeah,
He has released 15 studio albums and sold over 75 million records.
yeah.
And he successfully coached AAU teams, including the P. Miller Ballers, mentoring several players who advanced to the NBA. So,
Everything that we give these northern artists for, and we give them, pay them homage, is Master P did it first. When you
yes,
think about the movie that Dave Dash did, Paid in Full, when you think about him doing state property, guess what? Master P laid the groundwork for shit like that years ahead of time. He was years ahead of his time in rappers creating not only just their CDs, but their movies. Master P had his own clothing line before everybody else did. It was essentially the first, No Limit was the first record label, in my humble opinion. It wasn't just a a label, it was a brand. Everybody was rocking the No Limit charm. Everybody was, wanting to be a No Limit soldier. The thing was about the Mile High Salute, it started off with them wanting to be the No Limit soldiers. So Master P is and not to mention he got his hands in a little bit of everything now. Got his hands in chips, food, a little bit of everything now. And unlike a lot of rap moguls that we heard about in the 90s, that, like to your point, that we've heard about nowadays that, have had scandal, that have
none.
had everything, those guys who moved on, they was able to make money outside of P until they got in trouble. One P fault that they got in trouble, but they was able to make money outside of what they was doing. So guess what? When Snoop Dogg left No Limit, he was in a better position than when he first went to No Limit. It took him a couple million in order to get out of the contract with Death Row. Now he's worth over 200 million himself. So when you talk about what rappers are able to do nowadays, Master P deserves a hell of a lot of credit for laying that groundwork, for doing independent movies, doing independent shows, making it so where you don't have to be up under the thumb of a major record label. He had his own buses to advertise. He didn't need Hollywood in order to flip his CDs or his movies. All of this stuff did independent. It was independent. Even with his show and everything. I mean, he was a household name from Louisiana. And the thing is, he did all of that differently because he wasn't necessarily considered the greatest rapper. When you think about rap moguls who were moguls, they were the best. Some of them were the best rapper. When you think about Jay-Z, him being a mogul, he was a hell of a rapper. Master P wasn't necessarily the best rapper, but he was the best businessman, arguably, in the history of hip hop. He outlived, his legacy outlived every single record label of the 90s. He outlived Death Row. He outlived Bad Boy. He outlived Rap a Lot. He outlived Rockers. He outlived every single record label that was in the only three record labels that are left standing from the 90s right about now to this day is the Aftermath, No
Yes,
Limit, and Death Jam. Those are the only three. And the thing is, he laid the
because a lot
foundation.
of the reason why because a lot of those artists from the Death Row and the Bad Boy labels, unfortunately, they got into their own legal issues,
Yeah,
and subsequently they had to move on from that. But Master P was able to maintain it, and he knew that there was business for him besides just rap, champ. Whether I mean, look, he can make something out of nothing. The business. Look, the only thing he did wrong was them shoes.
Yeah, the only thing he
But
did wrong was them ugly ass shoes, in the great words of O.J. Simpson. But
but
the great words of O.J. Simpson. But
but outside of that, he did a lot of good for his community business. He showed people that hey, you don't have to necessarily have to be a great MC. You don't necessarily have to be tough. You can like handle things and make a ton of money by handling business. So business savvy mind, he's definitely up there. And I
yeah,
think I call him the Southern MC Hammer because I don't think he's gotten enough credit or recognition because the lot of the things that he's done with the business and the communities.
yeah. And look, like I said, the only reason why I don't think that a lot of guys like him, Jermaine Dupri, even Slim from Cash Money, I really don't think they get a lot. I really think it's that Southern bias. I really do. Because if you look at Cash Money, when you look at No Limit, when you look at a lot of other things, a lot of the major record labels who really had their hand in hip hop, a lot of them started from down south. Look at Rap a Lot, down south. When you look at So So Def, major pillar of hip hop, Southern Lake.
South Atlanta.
When you look at No Limit, major staple, down south. So a lot of the record labels when hip hop was at its peak was from down south. But because they're from the south and us southerners are not looked at as educated or as business savvy as our west coast or east coast or northern or New York counterparts, we don't necessarily get the credit for that. When you look at what Jermaine Dupri did, when you look at what Baby and Slim did, when you look at what even 3 6 Mafia, 8 Ball MJG, when you look at a lot of the Southern pioneers, Jay Prince, a lot of those guys, they don't get the credit that they necessarily deserve. I believe because of Southern bias.
That does play a role because eventually but well, because again with the South, I think to all the reasons that you mentioned, champ. But still, he did change the style for Southern hip hop.
Yeah,
Gave it a little bit more flair and recognition. But business, what can you say? And I think, and like I said with Snoop, teaching Snoop that you can own your own property,
yeah,
these houses, these cars, everything else. How do you think Snoop learned about the business side?
yeah.
Master P.
If you ever notice something about Southerners though, Jermaine Dupri, Baby, Slim, a lot of those guys. I say Jay Prince was probably the only exception. Shout out to Mr. Prince, by the way, the boogeyman from down south. I would say. You ever notice them guys don't be getting in trouble
Well, that's because they're mild mannered, and like I said, with the
down
South,
south? Cause down south we know damn better. Shit, down south.
why do you think I try to tell you all this time I want to move out of New York, New Jersey?
Hey, down south, bro. Look, listen. When you from down south, there's a level of consciousness that you have to realize that the rooms that you're walking into, a lot of times, although they're smiling at you, you're not wanted there. And that's the P, J Prince, Jermaine Dupri, Baby, Slim. All of those guys have said that at one time or another. Although you're making a lot of these labels a shit ton of money, guess what? A lot of these rooms, you have to realize you're not wanted there. So guess what? When you realize that the minute that you walk into this room, although you making money with this, you got to realize this is a business and they cannot wait to take your ass out of position in order to do your business because eventually you're going to be making more money than they are. Like I said, they brought Master P into the office and said, why are you bringing out all these albums? Why are you bringing out 20 albums a year? And he said, how much do you own? How much is this deal worth? He said, it's 9 to 10. He said, so I can bring out as many albums as I want to. Again, we down south, we realize when you walk in a lot of these rooms, just because you're welcomed into the room doesn't mean they want you there.
Well, that's
And
because they're
if
looking at
you
it from a
can't read between the lines on that one, shame on you.
well, that's because champ. At the end of the day, competition. and they know eventually at some point they're going to be out of business or somebody's going to eat off of their plate. But Master P was willing to do that. Matter of fact, do you remember the story, the Death Row Chronicles on BET? How much he was willing to offer Suge in order for Snoop to be out of Death Row?
$3 million. $3 million in order to get him off that label. And he made double. And he made double the money. And Snoop made double the money and some more back ever since that time. And again, like I said, guys, math, say what you want to about Baby, Slim, any of these guys down south. Well, like I said, with the exception of Jay Prince, shout out to Mr. Prince, because, we all know that he the boogeyman. But those guys do not, you never hear about them in any trouble like that. You might hear about a little bit of rap beef here and there, but as far as trouble is concerned, you being involved in parties or any other that nonsense, they don't play that nonsense. Like I said, when you are a Southerner, especially a black Southerner, there's a degree of consciousness that you have that although you are invited into these rooms and you are welcomed into these rooms, you're not necessarily wanted in those rooms. And when you realize that, you quickly realize, okay, I have to tread carefully. Yeah, I'm making all of this damn money, but there's somebody in this room that can't wait to dig up some damn dirt on me so they can take it from me. In the great words of Dr. Dre, as hard as you work to get your money, there's at least about 5 to 6 people itching to get it from you. And I will say this about a lot of Southern moguls and a lot of Southern artists. A lot of them cats. Look at Outkast, Scott Free. A lot of these Southern artists, they'll go around here getting in trouble. Trouble. Hey, you try to look when you from down south. You try to get a parking ticket in certain counties. You just being real.
I know, but I still told you I'd rather move down south.
Hey, hey, I will tell you this: if you ever move to Atlanta, don't speed through Coweta County. We
No,
already.
no, no, I don't- no. My thing is, champ. The reason why I like moving down south, well, for one, the good food, and look, I don't bother anybody. I don't like to be bothered. I'm not gonna bother anybody. I just feel like just give me my space. I give you your space. That's about it. I'm not gonna get into fights or anything like that. I'm just like the type of person that just likes his space, his peace. That's really about it. That's how I look at it. And I just treat people the way I want to be treated. Now if motherfuckers in New York treat people down south, it's gonna be a problem, especially when they come down south. My whole thing is, look, just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Look, like I said, man, I big up the Master P, man. You did your thing, and a lot of your clothes was affordable too, man. I bought. Look, my dad didn't like it, but I bought me a couple of Master P T-shirts, the No Limit Soldier T-shirts, the No
Good,
Limit Soldier. Yeah,
good.
my
You should. Good.
so
Good. You should. If your
so.
parents have a problem with it, look, tell them, look, man, hey,
I
let me
was a little
leave.
kid during the time, but like I said, you know this for a fact. My dad wasn't with all the what he called the funnies. My dad was real no nonsense. So wearing all that didn't necessarily fit the mold for him.
But then again, on the same breath, your father also told you them dudes who wearing them suits in courtroom.
They were criminals. So, and that's what it goes back to. You're not necessarily wanted in them rooms because them other dudes are criminals. So
There you go. But hey, there you go. All right. Next one, as far as with babyface or heel, I think he's a pure babyface. Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade is a pure baby face, man, and I applaud him for every way that he's conducted himself over the years, especially with his children, especially with his children and how he was able to teach everybody a lesson in how his son, or now daughter, transition.
Zaria.
Zaria, sorry, excuse me, sorry about that. I mean no disrespect, but he showed everybody in the transition on how to respond, and him and Magic. But I really respect those guys because they were able to show the world an example
Zaya, I'm
of
sorry. I'm sorry. Zaya Wade.
Zaya Wade. So I'm look, I commend those men. Not everybody has the courage to do those things, man. Some people disown their children. Some people act foolish when their children don't do something they don't agree with. They were able to say, "Hey, we're gonna embrace this." All right, and like I said, they was an example to a lot of people on how to handle yourself. Love your people even if you don't agree, or if you are agree, embrace your people. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? I'm glad that Dwayne Wade was that. Plus, he was like that as a basketball player. If it had not been for injuries, we're talking about him as one of the even with the injuries, he's still the top three shooting guard all time.
Only behind MJ and Kobe.
Over how MJ and Kobe. So
But
Dwayne
but
Wade,
but but but, but hold on. I'm gonna hold your big ass feet to the fire because remember we did have a conversation on our pod not too long ago about Harden or D Wade. You went with James Harden. How do you feel about that now?
I still stand behind that. Because guess what? I'm gonna just be real. During the regular season, you couldn't touch Harden. And like I stated, at certain points there was three people marching to be the best player as far as the MVP in the league. As far as being the MVP of the league, there was three players in the late 2000s marching towards MVPs from like 2015 all the way to 2020. That was LeBron, Steph Curry, James Harden. They were the most efficient, they were the most talented, and they were racing to that MVP race every single year. And people are going to talk about the Mike D'Antoni offense and how that made James Harden a lot better than what it was. But guess what? He was electrifying when he was at his peak. He was electrifying. And so I like I said, I'm still taking Harden as far as, and people might disagree with me, but that's okay. That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of sports.
But
That,
no, it's not. That's not the end of the world, champ. I mean,
but
come on.
yeah,
It's
I'm
not
still
like Paul
taking James
Pierce. It's
Harden
not like
at,
Paul
at
Pierce saying he's better than Dwayne Wade. So
peak for peak. Look, peak for peak. I say peak for peak. Peak for peak. James Harden over Dwayne Wade. Peak for peak. And if you look at
that's
the
fine.
peak, if you look at the peak, not just with your emotions, but if you look at the peak James Harden in the Mike D'Antoni offense with uh with Mike D'Antoni, and even when he first got to Houston, when Dwight Howard was injured
The year
on
when
his
yeah
team.
yeah remember people forgotten he was the runner up for the league MVP behind Steph Curry and the NBA the Players Awards. They voted James Harden the league MVP.
Yes,
But the and which is why with Patrick Beverly, I didn't have much of a problem with what he said about James Harden being better than Dwayne Wade. Now, do I agree? No, because you have to look at both ends of the court as well, too, champ. I'm sorry. James Harden on defense,
he was a liability.
to say he's a liability, I mean, dude was on cones. I mean, it's kind of like somebody having a hard time roller skating. That's how he was when it came to defense, champ. And he was pretty much lackadaisical on the defensive side of the court. I'm sorry, but I'm being totally 100. But back to Dwayne Wade, I say he's a baby face because of
Yeah,
the reason that you mentioned with Zayat Wade. It's not easy. And you also mentioned with Magic Johnson, him and Magic Johnson are the perfect examples. Both of them believe in the Lord, both of them believe in God and Jesus, but at the same time, they're okay with accepting their child or whoever, whether they're lesbian, bisexual, transgender, whatever.
yeah,
That's one of the reasons why last week on my pod champ, I called Tony Dungy a tweener because despite all the great things he's done for his community and what he's done for players, I can't get over the pack. I can't get over the fact with what he has said about
yeah.
the LGBTQ community.
Especially with the
That's
cat litter thing.
to which you were even totally shocked
Yeah,
about.
that shit shocked the hell out of me. Like, what the hell are we talking about here? But
But my
yeah,
thing, but not only Dwayne Wade, you also have to give credit to Gabrielle Union Wade.
yeah, yeah. You got to give credit to all that. Like I said, it takes a lot of courage, man. Like I said, a lot of man. Look, A lot of people disown their damn kids when you do so much as make them. You go to a damn school. The reason why I admire them is this: a lot of people disown their damn kids, especially as
And
our
you know
kids.
how kids are nowadays with school. They will, oh my God,
If you
they'll
go
pick.
to a school that their parents don't agree with, if you go to damn hell, we saw it on the Will Smith show. Hell, if you want to go to Harvard instead of Princeton, then your parents want to disown your ass. You know, much less take a step that big and make a decision that big in your life. You know what I mean? So for you to support your child during that time when it's not necessarily the most popular decision in the world, especially with these goofballs running around here like they is, you know what I'm saying? That takes a lot of courage. So I admire him for that.
I do too. But definitely top three shooting guard of all time. Also the sacrifices he made in Miami, even though LeBron had to be LeBron in order to win those championships, it doesn't discount D Wade. And no
Yeah.
matter how respected LeBron is in Miami, it's nothing compared to Dwayne Wade,
Wait. Yeah. I mean,
Wade County as they call it. And I just love a lot of things that he's meant, especially to his hometown in Chicago.
yeah.
And him and Gabrielle Union, the position that they took by supporting Zaya's decision, that's huge to me. And I think it hits us, particularly us as black people, champ, because again, I feel like when it comes to coming out, being gay, lesbian, whatever, I think we're concerned about the criticism that we may receive from our communities. But for them to come forward and be so strong and adamant about it, that is saying something.
Yeah.
So I
Like
commend
I
Dwayne
said, you
Wade for
go
that.
to the wrong school that people don't agree with you doing going to. People gonna criticize your ass for that so much. That's something that big, man. So and he dealt with the criticism and fought it off. So, that's something that a lot of people don't have the strength to do, man. When you're going against the masters at a certain point, it's a
That's
heavy
huge,
burden. It's a heavy burden.
but easily babyface.
Yeah,
Favorite Samuel L. Jackson moment, champ? Well, there's a lot of great ones. There's
the boys. You remember you seen his role on the boys with
well, I was gonna say, s- even though he didn't have much of a role, but he did have a role. Spike Lee's "Do the Right Thing." Remember when Mookie Pino, the guy who was owning the Asian dude that was owning the supermarket, and everyone else in Brooklyn complaining and talking shit about each other. He's like, "Time out, time out. Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out." And that's the double truth. Roof, Coach Carter.
I love that role. I love
Um,
that role.
do you know how much trouble and shit they got into with the pool scene? You know, when they had to walk into that the family house. Remember they were partying at some, and then remember he got pissed off at Worm because he slept with the girl in her bedroom, and
Yeah.
then the parents had to find out and shit.
Word, do you want to be on this team?
Wait,
Because you're about 6 months for getting kicked off and kicked off the goddamn
the
bus.
boss.
Well, that was, but look, I'm going to just be real. That just goes to show you what order can do for you. And that just goes to show you how, when you are a man, black man of order, how much you get criticized even when you are doing the right thing. Because he was doing everything the right way for that community. Wanted them to have a C average so they could get into college. Sent damn near that whole team into college. Hell, his son was a West Point Military Academy graduate.
Yes,
I mean, all those
Damian
guys went
Carter.
to college. Yeah, all those guys went to college. So teacher discipline and order, much like, I mean, if you really ask me, this is just my opinion. People can fight me, but this is just my opinion. Coach Carter for us is what Lean on Me was to my parents with Joe Clark and Morgan Freeman, because it showed what discipline, what Joe Clark said, discipline is not the enemy of enthusiasm. And at the end of the day, all of those kids made themselves out of something. For Coach Carter, it was sending his basketball team, the majority of his basketball team, all of them went to college. For Joe Clark, it was his entire school passing the state exam.
Yes. And do you remember the line in which he said, growing up here in Richmond, you're 80% more likely rather than go to prison than college.
Yeah,
Those are the facts. Those are the stats for your ass.
yeah,
And like Coach Carter, if y'all take the time to watch Coach Carter, just please, man, just understand that there's more to it than just basketball. It's just uplifting young men, giving young men opportunities as far as going to college and making something out of their lives. And he had to be good cop, bad cop, teaching them young men, hey, this is the requirements in order for you to play on my basketball team. Practice starts at what? 3 o'clock. As a 255, you are late. Okay. You must maintain a 2.3 grade point average. You have to attend all your classes. You must sit in the front row of those classes. Shirt and ties on game days. So I didn't mind what Coach Carter did because obviously the young men needed discipline.
yeah.
But of course, with Samuel L. Jackson, Django, when Jamie
No,
Foxx tells them, not you, Steven, you right here where you belong. You
when he
remember
get there,
yeah, remember that last scene where he counted the shots and everything?
I count 6 shots. I
I
think
count
that
two guns.
does. No, I think the funniest part of that is when he was talking about the Quit Dick and Body Company. Now, when you get there, they gonna take away your name, give you a number and a sledgehammer, and say, "Get to work." Any load of sass, they cuts out your tongue. So that was it. Hey man, him playing Nick Fury, that was a big thing for me. People talk about the Black Panther, but Samuel playing Nick Fury, that was a milestone. Seeing that for me, that was cool. Seeing him playing Nick Fury, that was great. 187 when he played Mr. Garfield. 187 when he played that teacher at the other high school, and he was battling those gang members.
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles. Uh, Man, Samuel Jackson got so much. Jurassic Park, that was a good one.
Snakes on the
So
plane.
snakes on the plane. uh, but Samuel Jackson, man, look, when he played in Juice, when he played in
Mm-hmm.
Juice, you could tell that that little bit of southernness when he was at Morehouse came out when he said that when he said you'd have slid down a razor blade into an alcohol river because that's a lot of stuff that we say down south. Um, Mr. Glass, the other superhero movie where he played the villain. I mean, being the first billionaire actor, being the first actor to make studios over $1 billion, that just speaks about your rap sheet. I mean, and let's not forget about the one of ones, Pulp Fiction. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay thy vengeance upon thee. Then shot shit out, dude. So and it's then in the diner, he said, "So which one is your wallet?" He said, "The one that says bad motherfucker." And then he pulled out the wallet. It was that. Um, Look, I mean, Lakeview Torrance. Remember he
Oh
played in
yeah, the
Lakeview
one with
Torrance?
him and Kerry Washington.
Yeah. And look, let's not just stick to movies. Let's go to video games. He played the worst cop ever in the history of America. When he played in
Sa-
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas,
Sandra.
when he played Officer Tenpenny, when he played Officer Tenpenny, when he played Officer Tenpenny, and he played the antagonist to CJ in San Andreas, that was one of the most iconic roles that Samuel L. Jackson played, was playing Officer Tenpenny. So that was crazy. I don't know who was worse, him or Alonzo from Training Day. That's a whole other story for a whole other day. But him playing Officer Tenpenny, not just being on the silver screen, but being in video games. He was on The Boys recently when he played a shark, saying telling the deep how they was going to unalive him when they if he ever stepped into the water again. So Samuel Jackson was people talk about Denzel, but Samuel Jackson, man,
Not to mention, also went to an HBCU, Morehouse College.
yes, right up there in Atlanta. So um, I mean, plays in all of those in during March Madness, playing in all those commercials with Charles
Capital
Barkley.
One, what's in your wallet? Yep.
Yeah, Capital One, all of those commercials, and revolutionize saying the word MF. So so when Samuel Jackson, so, he has a distinct way of saying MF. So, but played in Shaft, Shaft, the remake
Yes.
movie Shaft, the very first one. That was good. So Samuel Jackson, give him a lot of credit. We talk about Denzel, we talk about a lot of these guys. To me, among black actors, Denzel to me is the GOAT. But Samuel Jackson, he ain't in a class all by himself, but it don't take long to call roll. I think it's Denzel, then Samuel, and then we can go on down the line. We can talk after that. You put everybody else where you want to, but Samuel is right. Denzel top guy as far as black actors is concerned. Then
Him and Sidney Poitier.
yes, him, yeah, Sidney Poitier. To me, Mount Rushmore black actors, I would say Denzel, Samuel, uh, Forrest Whitaker,
Yes.
Forrest Whitaker, and the late great Chadwick. I know he didn't. I know he wasn't alive that long, but I got to put him up there simply because of the impact that he made with Black Panther and Thurgood Marshall.
Chadwick
And
Boseman.
yeah, Chadwick Boseman. I got to put him on Mount Rushmore. So my Mount Rushmore of black actors has to be Forrest Whitaker, Samuel Jackson, Denzel, Chadwick. So
Denzel, Sidney Poitier. I don't have it in that order.
yeah,
Samuel Jackson, and I'll throw in Will Smith.
okay.
Well, I mean, say what you want about Will Smith, you can't deny his body of work as well.
Oh no, no, you can never deny that. I mean, just because you married Rosemary, that doesn't mean you're not a great actor. So
But man, the voices, with Samuel L. Jackson, but Django, I can't forget Coach Carter. Also, let's not forget SWAT with him, Colin Farrell, L. Cool J.
yeah, hey, when he made that, how the hell am I supposed to trust a man that won't eat a good old fashioned American hot dog?
Hmm.
That was that was that was good. But I think one of his most underrated movies was 187.
Yes.
187 was one of the more underrated movies, and a lot of lessons in that movie.
Last but not least, favorite Bow Wow track. Um, Fresh as I'm is my favorite one from him. I know a
Hmm.
lot of women will say, "Let Me Hold You" featuring Omarion. Of course, there's "Bounce with Me," which was one of the songs from the Martin Lawrence movie Big Mama's House. Um, Obviously, he got the nickname because, again, of course, Snoop Dogg, because he was
Yeah,
impressed by Snoop Dogg. And look, shout out to JD Jermaine Dupri, because him joining So So Def Records, there was him, the Brad. There were a lot of other great artists who joined So So Def at that time. My Baby featuring Jagged Edge. I did like that track. Um, they didn't call him 106 in Park for a reason. Mr.
yeah,
106 in Park for a reason because he was big, especially during his time when he was like 12 and 13. I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for this. How Remember when he was on Club Shay Shay's podcast and how he talked about how R. Kelly did the song "I'm a Flirt"
yeah,
and how he explained it?
yeah. Hey, it is what it is. It's just a moment in time. Bow Wow is overhated, man. He's overhated these days because I think people forget how big Bow Wow was at his peak. You gotta remember, as a young artist, this dude was competing and outselling guys like NSYNC, O Town, the Backstreet Boys. He was competing with and outselling them cats. Basically, if you when you really look at what Jermaine Dupri said, he designed 106 in Park specifically for Bow Wow. That was Bow Wow's show because MTV had TRL.
Yes.
During that time, there was a lot of grown people stars, as we would say down south, grown folk stars, but there was not necessarily a lot of teen stars and teenage like icons during them days. And then Bow Wow came along, you know. Then it took off from there. I mean, song stayed at number one on Bow at on Bow Wow on Bow Wow show, Mr. 106 Apart. It was amazing, man. Hey man, look, Bow Wow's album had an interactive game on it. It had an interactive game on it. So that's how popular he was. He had an interactive game on his on his CD. I never forget. Remember "Like You" with Sierra? Yeah. What? What?
I think you know what, but I'm not gonna go there.
I don't know, but yeah, okay. Uh, "Bounce with Me," first of my meal. Uh,
Remember, he was featured in one of them Destiny Child songs.
oh yeah, "Jumping, Jumping."
Yep.
I'll never forget what the name is. My name is Bow Wow. Like I said, he was out selling grown folks, bro. He was out selling grown folks and holding his own. Where the party at? Remember, he was on Where the Party At. One of the remixes. Remember, he was on. Remember, Like Mike.
Basketball track.
Basketball is my favorite sport. Hell, he was playing basketball with Kobe Bryant, bro.
And he got his ass whooped by Kobe.
Why would you play basketball with Kobe Bryant and say I can beat you with basketball? This dude play basketball every 5 seconds. Like really? Yeah. I remember when Cisco said Bow Wow broke one of his basketball goals at one moment as a child. He said, "Yeah, my goal broke because Bow Wow came over here and just slammed." He said, "You owe me a basketball goal, Bow Wow." Side to side, when he was featured on Most Unknown with 3 6 Mafia.
Yes.
Hey, remember when he was with that when he was with Solange on Puppy Love.
Yeah, I remember that music
East
video. Yeah.
Coast, Rock On, Dirty South, Rock On. So, what's my name?
Yes.
Featuring his mentor, his original mentor, Snoop Dogg.
Snoop.
Yeah. Remember, he was on the Arsenio Hall show as a damn
Yeah, he was about like 6, 7 years old
yeah,
at the time when yeah,
yeah,
and
Lil
he was
Bow.
rapping. So you kind of tell from that moment that he had a lot of potential. One of my favorite movies that he starred in was World Bounce.
Yeah,
I like the scene with him and Shy McBride though. Remember when he got upset when he found out that his father was lying to him for a job for about months, and then he grabs the baseball bat and smashes the car. I
yeah,
thought that was like a really touching moment. It was kind of reminiscent to like the Fresh Prince when Will was so furious at his father, and then that was some good acting from Bao. But
get
he
over
is
there.
overhated, I think, because a lot of young people nowadays don't look at him as how we look at him back in the early 2000s. But yeah, he was selling. He was
Yeah,
big during his time. I mean, there was a battle between him or Romeo.
yeah, him, Romeo, and that he laid the groundwork for a lot of other kid superstars on as far as like I said on MTV. If you'll read between the lines with me without me really saying it, you had a lot of stars. You had Britney Spears, you had
In
uh,
Sync, the Backstreet
Instinct,
Boys.
Motown, but on BET you really didn't have that many. So when first came Bow Wow, then Sammy, then Romeo, Lil Corey. You had a lot of he paved the way for a lot of other guys and gals to follow along with. You remember In Tune? In Tune. You remember? I remember they came to it. They did a teen summit down here in Columbus one time. In Tune did. I had they autographed little album copies somewhere in my mom's basement somewhere. But yeah, they did a little thing down here, man.
They did.
So they did their thing. So he came along and it laid the groundwork for a lot of other things. Hell, Lil Romeo came after Bow Wow. So what's so funny about that? They did their best to be so different. You know, I never forget. Bow Wow used to rock the Mickey Mouse around his neck. Remember, Romeo had the Bugs Bunny shit around his neck. That was the funniest shit in the world. If you really want me to be honest, like we know y'all doing that just to be different from each other, but hey, it is what it is.
Let's not forget Shorty Like Mine featuring Chris Brown.
Yeah, I never forget the album. I never forget the album he made with Marion.
Yes.
Your
The
face
the
off.
the girl. They also had the girlfriend track. Also, we cannot forget him with T Pain, Out of My System. But the
Yeah, out of
Shorty
my
Like Mine track, the only reason why I like it is because of Angela Simmons.
yeah. I mean, she bad. She bad.
Fine.
Yeah, she bad. She bad. She bad to the bad. But hey, man, look, like I said, Bow Wow's overhated, man. I got to see Bow Wow when I went to the Atlanta Dream game. Him and the franchise boys performed at halftime.
Oh, I think they like me.
Oh, I think they like, yeah, they performed during halftime when I went to go see the Atlanta Dream play. So it was good to see Bow Wow still doing his thing, man. He was on 106 in Park, the show that he helped revolutionize. So that's kind of a full circle moment, a show that you helped build. Your videos helped build that show, and you became one of the hosts for years to come. So, like I said, man, he was an icon, and you know, big ups to Bow Wow, man. And you still doing your thing to this day. You didn't just grow up. You grew up, and you still have business about yourself, man. And I'm glad to see that, man. It's sometimes you see these child. One thing about it, you see a lot of these child stars, a lot of his counterparts, they get older, and them motherfuckers do not turn out well. They do
They
not turn
don't
out
because
well.
they don't. They usually fall into depression, substance abuse issues,
Yeah,
a lot of other stuff, and it's sad. But fortunately for Bao, I mean, and he can't do that now because again, he's got a daughter,
yeah.
he's got a kid, he's got a support. So big ups to him for just still
Yeah, for
keep
sticking. I
moving.
mean, for him to even be living in his right mind, no funny business, but looking as great as he is, and still able to have fame and notoriety and money, and able to conduct himself and be a businessman. Because, like I said, a lot of his counterparts, the motherfuckers went crazy. A lot of them did. I mean, look at what Britney Spears. Look at Britney Spears for what she was to what she is now. Twirling on the damn on Instagram. Remember, Plies was messing with him about it. He said, "Watch her do that twirl. Watch her do the twirl." But I remember Plies was saying that.
But
Big
but there
shout out, big
but
shout
there
out to the late great Aaron Carter. Remember
yeah.
how his parents, did him, and a lot of those pop stars back then got did wrong. And when you think about where they were versus where Bow Wow is right about now, it's like, damn, that's great, and I'm happy for you. The fact
Well,
that you were
him
able to
and
make
also
it.
too Hillary Duff.
Yeah. Yes. I saw recently. I saw Glorilla. She was fangirling over Hillary Duff,
Hillary
which
Duff,
I don't
yeah, I
blame
saw
her,
that as well.
cause I was a I look. I don't care what anybody says. I watched Lizzie McGuire. I
So did
watched
I.
it because of her. I watched it because of her. So yeah. So and when she got, like I said, a lot of these cats that we grew, it's good to see them in their right mind. Number one, and in good health. Say what you want about Raven, she's in her right mind and in good health. When you think about Hillary Duff, she's in her right mind. She's in good health. When you think about Bow Wow, he's in his right mind and in good health.
Romeo.
Romeo in his right mind and in good health. He's a USC graduate. Daddy made sure his ass went to college. So yeah,
Danielle Fishel, for those who may not know, that was the one who played Topanga on Boy Meets World.
yes, yes. Hell, Mr. Phoenix still living. So I'm glad that When you see all of these teen stars that grew up and they still in their right mind, number one, God kept them in their right mind, and they still able to get fame and they got their fortune, they able to make money still and be businessmen and women. That's something to be thankful for because when you think about a lot of these stars, these child stars, they mind is mush right about now, and it's because of a lot of things they went through behind the scenes. And it seems like they only a select few made it through their teen years, being a major star, being a major icon, and made it in their right mind.
Absolutely. But fortunately for Bao, he's still able to earn a living and do something for himself. So big ups to him. And I hope at some point, I know MTV BET is no longer what it was before, but I would love to see some resemblance of that, of MTV, the BET days. Because back then, the TRL 106 and Park days, that was big for our childhood. So huge,
Yeah,
man.
man. 106 and Park, and man, them hours on the weekdays from 3 to 8 p.m. is some of the best memories that I will ever cherish in my childhood.
That and
Because,
We can't forget Rap City.
yeah, yeah. From like I said, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. From the time I got out of school, especially when I was in high school. Man, I used to, man, look, I had a weight bar that I used to sit there with. I would sit there all day and I just do curls, do overhead press, and I just be watching music videos, man. And not just watching music videos, man. I'm writing down stuff, man. Oh man, I like that. I like that sweater. I like them shoes. Where them shoes come from? Looking in the East Bay book in order to see what I can find. Man, do I see that in the East Bay book? Man, let me go see what the East Bay book looking like, man. Hey, I'm gonna go to the library. Back then you didn't have access or readily you didn't have readily access to a computer back then. So you had to go to the library. Man, when I go to the library, I'm gonna go on eastbay.com in order to see. So it was more than just social media. Nowadays, social media is, everyday life. Back then, you looked at videos not just to watch the videos. You want to get fashion sense, see what everybody was wearing, see what designs people got their hair cut in. See,
Is that how you got that Gucci sweater?
yeah, I got
Because
that Gucci.
remember, your one of your girlfriends at the time you explained stole your Gucci sweater.
No, she not only stole my damn Gucci sweater, she stole my damn Wayne Gretzky jersey too. And I ain't find out till like I didn't find out she stole it until like the very next season. So yeah, that was like 19. I had just joined the army, so I'm at home doing my curls, and the LA Kings about to play, thinking it's time to bring it out. I'm looking, man. I damn near tore my damn apartment up trying to find that damn Wayne Gretzky jersey. 3 days later, I get a phone call. I hope you're not looking for that Wayne Gretzky jersey. I'm like, why is that? Oh, I got it on. I see that sitting. I'm like, well, I can't get it back now. So and never let your girlfriends take your hockey jerseys. They will steal it from you.
But she, what question before we wrap up? Did she ever even follow hockey like that?
No, look, girls, when you got a girlfriend, man, they steal all your damn clothes, bro, man. Girls, my girlfriends have stole my hoodies. They stole my damn socks. I remember, I had a
The
damn,
one thing they won't steal is them damn drawers.
yeah, they still the shit. You be surprised. You bring a fresh pack, you bring a fresh pack of them damn polo briefs home because remember, that was a fashion statement at one time. You bring a good pair of them damn polo, and back then I was a little bit smaller than I am now. Back then I was like a 34, 35 in the ways. These days, I'm up there. So yeah, you bring a good pair of them home, they're gonna try to make a fashion statement with it, especially if you ain't warm yet. So yeah, when you're in a relationship, girls steal every damn thing that you that you own, man. They steal your hoodies, they steal your shirts, they steal your sweatpants. I mean, one stole a jacket that I had, an Atlanta Braves jacket that I had. You remember back when the race car jackets was popular? It had all the Braves patches on there and stuff like that. And I came home one day, I'm like, "Where's my jacket?" Got a
Well,
phone
I
call.
mean, there's one well-known incident regarding something about stealing someone's property, and Lisa Left Eye Lopez with the situation with Andre Rison.
Yeah. What's so funny about that is she got mad. If you go back and look at the interview, I'm gonna see you the interview. He said, "Look, she got mad at me and burned my damn house down. 2 days before that, hell, Tupac rolled up in a limousine and picked her up from my house."
Yes.
I was like, and he said, "Man, I was about to go kick Tupac's ass." He said, "But I called Suge first and let her know I was about to kick his ass." But he said, "Yeah, man, she got mad at me for going to do my thing. Hell, we showed back up at the house together. Hell, you got out of Tupac's limousine. I got out from where I came from. So how can you be mad at me about it?" So, hey, that just goes to show you, hey, it's cool when you do it. It's a problem when I do it. So, I
There you
mean,
go. But on that note, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Undisputed World Champ. Any final words before we wrap up the show?
yeah. Shout out to the WNBA. Two good games tonight, man. The New York Liberty had a great victory, and the LA Sparks had a good one as well, man. Kelsey Plum,
She
if
would be
they can
winning the
make it,
MVP today. She'd
she
be the
could
lead
be the
candidate.
MVP candidate. Partially, she didn't play today, but she could definitely have MVP caliber things. Washington is still an up and coming team. Watch the WNBA. The Atlanta Dream are winning by 2 points right about now. And Angel Reese already has, it's only the first quarter, she already has 6-4 right now. So big shout out to the Atlanta Dream. Bring it home. About to sit here and watch this game in a minute. Um, Look, Father's Day is coming up. Appreciate your father. Appreciate your father. I know mom was the nurturer, but dad was the disciplinarian and the protector and the provider. And dad wasn't always looked at as the good guy all the time.
If you're a son.
If you're a daughter or a son. So
Yeah,
dad
but
wasn't always,
daddies have a certain feeling for their daughters.
yeah. So dad wasn't, especially like you said, if you're a son, dad wasn't always the good guy when you're the son. He always had to be back. He had to be bad cop sometimes. So, but take that time to appreciate it because a lot of the time it was for the greater good. And you know, we don't understand that until we get a little bit older, and then we go out in the world, and now we know how to handle certain shit because of our father. So make sure you give dad a gift. Don't give him no bullshit ass handkerchiefs or no cup. Go out there and get him an actual gift and make sure you take care of him. Now, dads already know you. He's not gonna get that same level of adulation as mom. That's okay.
Take him
But
to a restaurant.
you know,
Take him to
give
dinner or something.
not my dad, but I'm gonna give my dad a big old gift because my dad don't really go out and eat like that. He don't go out and eat like that because my dad's a little bit of an introvert. He kind of stays
Oh,
to
okay.
himself. So yeah, make sure your dad eat good. Make a mistake. Have him. Go to Bonefish, $50 steak dinners. Give your dad a good gift, and hey, call it a day. But pay homage to the old man, man. Because guess what? They work their ass off, and I know for my father, hell, my dad worked at a hard job, and he had surgery during one of those years. I never had to worry about food on the table, clothes on my back, and I ain't never had to worry about a lot of the horrors of that you hear nowadays because of my father. So, and I would not be on a podcast if it not for my father. Because guess what? The person who hooked me to sports that I want to watch sports because of was my father. So pay homage to your fathers and honor them just as much as you do your mom. Like I said, dads already know that they're not gonna get that same adulation as mom do, and they understand that. But give dad a gift, give them something so they can have something to look forward to.
Well said, big fella. Um, please, everyone, just enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're gonna drink, please drink responsibly. Have a good time. Be around friends and family. I know certainly I'm gonna be out on that basketball court playing as much basketball as I can, and then afterwards going to the bar, having a couple of margaritas, and doing something. But hopefully, if I see Champ in Georgia or in the New Jersey area, gotta go out for some food and some drinks. Hopefully, we'll do that at some moment in time, man. But always a pleasure having the big fella on. Unfortunately, we had to do it without BRF, but don't worry, BRF is always like family. I want to take the time to give a quick shout out to Mama PSP, the beautiful Angie, the beautiful Kaylin, And of course, Jennifer Lazarus, my college professor, and the beautiful and lovely D.
Yes,
Love
indeed.
y'all, woman. Also love you too, Kia. Love you too, Nessa and JoJo and everyone else. Appreciate everyone else for helping out the Sports PSP podcast as much as possible. Please, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Like I said, if you're gonna drink, drink responsibly. Have a good time. Um, by the way, if you're a parent right now, you may want to think about back to school shopping. Since the summer is around the corner, heck, you may want to look at some interesting prices for you to do some back to school shopping. That way, you don't have to put it on the last minute.
Yes.
And also do some shopping for yourself, some online shopping, because since I've been working hard and making a little bit more money, I've been able to get myself some brand new equipment and brand new clothes. So, you could be cheap to a lot of people. Never be cheap to yourself.
Yes, indeed. I like that.
Well, I got it from Shannon Sharp. And you would know that because just like you, from the South, from Georgia as well. But
Yes,
on that
indeed.
note, enjoy the rest of y'all weekend, and we is out. Peace.